Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch.
And to time the market when is with now in the honeymoon phase of Hex, it's better just to stake, buy, stake for the long term, get those shares and collect the 40% APY on average. Why are you going to try to outtrade that 40% APY?
How you can say that with a straight face or not like laughing, giggling, and excited is like, it blows my mind, because you just said 40% APY. There is nowhere on the face of the planet where you're going to get 40% APY. It just doesn't exist anywhere, and to be pulling that off of a crypto that is solid and has been solidly doing these types of numbers is I mean, it's amazing to me that that's what we actually have in a cryptocurrency, is that type of APY, and that type of APY guaranteed by an immutable code. And I did say that. I said guaranteed. That's what we're getting right now. There's no way anybody can take your interest away from you that you've made. The price is going to dip and turn and jump and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to take away your return on your Hex by staking it. So it's something very unique in the space in crypto. I mean, in investing period, you're just not going to get those type of gains anywhere.
Imagine what you might come back to when you run a 10 to 15 year stake. It's, when you put the numbers in the spreadsheet that I put together, it can be pretty impressive and almost seem unrealistic without even, manipulating the numbers that much. You don't need a $10 Hex to see a 7-figure profit when you have that long time horizon. And that was, by the way, I adjusted down to just 5 Hex per trillion shares for 15 years. And I understand it's going to be times it's greater than that, especially with emergency end stakes and your share percentage. So I think that's even very conservative there. I think when I did my video, I bumped it to say 35 cents at 15 years. This was with like 100 trillion shares staked. It wasn't anything huge, but you held that 15-year timeline. And then if you had your principal and big payday factored in at that price point, I think we're just like 1.4 million, maybe 1.2. So there's a lot of potential there. Of course, 15 years is a long time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's a long time. But it's gonna come and go whether you do anything with it or not. So Andrew says, I remember a story of camping when I was a kid in Washington, and we met a guy camping next to us. He told my dad about a coffee company called Starbucks and told my dad to invest in it. My dad didn't listen. Well, there's always those stories out there, right? I mean, my mom, didn't get into eBay. We talked about it at the time. There's a story too of a guy, I think it's in Detroit. He's working at a factory, and this is where you can kind of go to this rags to riches story too. He bought into a company called, I think it was Tampax, right? And nobody had heard of it at that time. And then all of a sudden, boom! Now it's this market brand. Every woman uses it. So he made tons of money on that too. So there's always these new startups, new things. Look, McDonald's was that. Apple was that at one point in time.
And then usually if you hold long enough, you're gonna realize some gains, or you're gonna see some of these gains. And Hex, it's only been the bear markets have been very quick.
Yes.
And sometimes they've been prolonged, but they seem to be, dependent on what's going on at the time, but they seem to be kind of bought up pretty quick, and then, chop, and then we take the next leg up. But another analogy I wanted to bring back to Hex was, I know you're not a boomer, but you're like the tier below, but I'm sure you were around in the 80s when interest rates were in the teens, right? They were 10 for a little bit. 15,
well, that's when they were teaching us how to save in savings accounts, and we did, and you put in there, and that was a decent return. I don't think it was quite that high, but it might have been. I don't know, but
it got there. Yeah, at one year, I think it was like 18.
Yeah, and I mean, and that was good, and saving made sense back then, and CDs and savings bonds and muni bonds and all those things made sense back then. Now, not so much.
Hexican, but it's supporting the community, and by them supporting the community and you speaking on their coin and promoting, hey, look, this is something fucking good. Well, that in the long run is going to be good for the person promoting you anyway. Who gives a shit if they're tabbing you on their computer and they walk and go do some grocery shopping or something?
Right.
But that's the mentality that I believe all Hexicans should have. On every single channel that promotes their product of Hex, our coin, we should be highly supportive, because in the long run, it's going to enable us to do what we need to do. We'll be able to go out there as billionaires and fucking make the world a better place, because that's what we want to do. It's been obvious. It's been defined.
You know who's amazing with that is BallietBran. BallietBran sets the example to me in my mind of exactly what you're saying, what a real selfless Hexican is. It doesn't matter how many times a week I stream. It doesn't matter what's going on in the community. If somebody new, somebody's on again, BallietBran is supportive. He's not only retweeting it, he's in there, he's in that chat that day. He might just stop by for a minute, but you can guarantee he's stopping in the chat and saying, throw a like on this YouTube video, or leaving a comment there. He's so consistent and such a great inspiration to me. I love that he's my friend now. It's amazing. And like you said, I don't do it enough. I try to, but I'm not making it my duty to do it. And it's really just simple to show up, log, hit that like button, hit that follow button for everybody. If you saw a new streamer today, Michael, I forget his full name right now. I apologize, Michael, but it's first time streaming today. We could have made a big deal out of that as a community. I failed there. I didn't jump on and retweet his stream and, throw him a comment in it. And, how much did I appreciate that when I first started, that BallietBran was there for me, that there was another handful of Hexicans that showed up that first day and rode with me till today, and give me the confidence to keep going.
What's interesting, I'm the same way. And I think that mentality that you just presented is absolutely warranted. BallietBran, by the way, an amazing Hexican. He was definitely, on my streams, dropping donos and promoting me, retweeting. Like he's that guy, and there needs to be more BallietBrans, just to continue, putting forward the content, and really taking appreciation to the people who push our content creators like you. Again, I love what you're doing. You need to go up in the ranks, because this here is so unique, but so needed, especially now with the whole pandemic. You are doing God's work, man. You're not doing work for yourself. This is something different. Okay?
Thank you, Joker.
Absolutely.
Brand just asked too, not even why I'm saying all this. Bran asked I said to DM you, but now that we're talking about Bran asked Joe, what is Joker's ETH address to donate to? Right. So that's tonight. That's right now, a few minutes ago. I mean, that's who Bran is, just so, I mean, DM him, please. Bran's, an inspiration to us all. And for you to go ahead.
I love Bran. Man, he's such a giving soul, man. We need, again, we that type of love is like, it's unmatched. And that's all in the Hexican community, guys. Like it's so fucking unique. I've never seen a community like this in my entire life. Like look at what what's his name was doing. Ski Cat. He gave away $50,000, bro. Where do you see that?
Ski Cat gave me 500,000 hex on the 24-hour stream when I first came out and told my story. That was the first time, you know, for a large audience. There was 1,700 people watching. Maddie and I had been on for Hex Therapy Live, which we do Thursday nights after Hexologist. That was, you know, we're just learning. We're just figuring out the ropes. I went on that show. I provided my testimony. I didn't even know if I was going to talk because there was 10 people on screen at once. And for the first half hour, like my audio wasn't working right because my first time using StreamYard with a big group, I didn't have the settings right. And finally, like it just came to an opportunity where, like I said, I didn't even think I was going to talk. And Hexologist looked over and said, "Hey, Joe, you know, what's your story with Hex?" And, you know, I said my story, and Maddie's made a video of this so I could see the comments as you know, I was providing my testimony, and nothing but love, just hundreds of comments of support. And then because of that support, you know, organically what happened was Ski Cat realized, you know, here's an individual that's been through the ringer, myself, and now he's here. And what did he do to help me? He donated 500,000 hex, which at that time, hex was at a penny. Just like it is today, it's a little bit over that. That was $5,000. You know, just somebody that I've never met. I don't know him. I don't know who he is. And like you just said, he's donated over 10 million hex to people in the hex community.
That's so amazing, man. That is so amazing. You know, again, it's a blessing. It's really a blessing, and we have the power to do it. Like it's so unique, you know, and we have such outreach, and we know what we're about, and the coin's gonna explode, and we are the pioneering fucking content creators,
right?
Hex art, surely we've got a Hexican who's a tattoo artist, right? Surely. I think there's going to be a lot of people.
I don't think we do, because there was a bounty for like tens of thousands of dollars the other night, and nobody took it. So I don't think so.
Is it bad of me that I want it to be BallietBran? BallietBran, I want you to learn. I want you to become an expert in tattooing.
All right.
Become the world's best tattoo artist, right?
I have to change my username and don't ever send me money. Imposters everywhere. Richard Hart bracket. Don't ever send me money. Imposters everywhere bracket. That's fucked up, right? Like, I'm out there actually making an effort trying to stop the fucking scam. Everyone else is like, that Richard, yeah, he's a scammer.
Call it a scam. Nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. ICOs, pump and dumps, they always try to take you. Buy low, sell high, I'm tired of your fake news. You need a token, you broken, you wanna see some massive gains? Lambo, new crib, model wife, cash and chains. Look no further at your final destination. Don't be complacent every day when you paper chasing. Choose the best, leave the rest. Stop investing like you press. The only crypto that you'll ever need is Hex. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. Your investments are safe, it's got defenses. A mutable contract that pays trustless interest. I don't understand why everybody is hating. Hex is capped at 3.69 inflation. Shares are like hash rate. The higher you take her, the more daily interest that gets paid to the stakers. Always do your own research, don't listen to me though. It's complete, it can't be changed. Hex is finito. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. The game has changed, ain't no going back now. Dummies that called Hex a scam can back down. I hope you understand, I pray that you follow me. You owe the entire Hex family an apology. And stay sober, cash out, the game's over. Hex is here for the market cap takeover. Buckle up, we about to be full throttle. With multiple audits, it's where we get paid to hodl. We got the game smothered, sisters and brothers, with no expectation of the work from others. It's complicated, I know that there's a lot to this. For your daily Hex updates, tune to Hexologists.
What's up, guys?
Hex is like nothing that you ever been through, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the pumpamentals. If you like what you hear, by now, think twice. Just remember, yo, this ain't financial advice. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we are the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans.
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? BallietBran. Hope everybody liked the intro. For anybody that's new, I do have an intro when my stream plays for about 15 or 16 minutes. So you got some time to, grab your popcorn, take a piss break, grab some water and everything else. So tonight was kind of a impromptu, just a live stream, a Hexican live stream. We can go over anything, and we're also maybe going to have some guests on. I know a couple of people have already messaged me saying that they might be interested in coming on, but we kind of just want to go through some updates in the actual channel itself. So on Sunday, during my normal live stream, which is at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, most likely I might be having on Bitfinesse, and whether it's 2 p.m. or whether it's maybe a different time that him and I convene to make it work. It might be 2 p.m. or it might be a different time. Whether I announce that, we'll have to configure the plans and whatnot. But so myself and Bitfinesse on Sunday most likely, and if he can't make it, then it'll just be myself. And then on Saturday, here in the U.S., it'll be myself and Hex Mac. So that'll be his first time. Oh, cool. Nice. Bitfinesse, he says he'll be there. But for Hex Mac, that'll be his first time, ever coming on live stream to my knowledge. So he's going to be coming on my channel. We're going to have like a little Hexican hangout. And for anyone that doesn't know, I did have another Hexican hangout with another Hexican, which was Identity Block. We can just go into, real quick, we're just going to do like a couple of minutes of kind of just like, some coverage and whatnot. We're just going to share the screen and going to go to BallietBran's YouTube channel. We're going to do that real quick right here. Okay, cool. So cool. This is my YouTube channel, and we're just going to go to youtube.com/BallietBran. Just want to show everybody, because I did have a couple of streams lately that you might have missed, right? So yesterday, myself and Identity Block, he's a Hexican that's definitely not new, and he's actually been around for quite some time, but him and myself got around yesterday, and we're able to do a live stream. So just wanted to let everybody know that. And then also a week ago during my normal Sunday live stream, myself and Dave Dittman, him and myself did a live stream as well. So anyone's obviously welcome to check that out. The links are in the description as well. But I just want to see how everybody's doing. Let's just say hello to the chat real quick. We do have a lot of people, and we kind of got a little late night hangout going on. So we got Tales from the Crypto. That's a new username that I'm seeing. So good to see you. They say, what's good, bro? Identity Block, good to see you as well. Despide tu jefe. And I asked my girlfriend, I said, what the hell does this mean? Because I know how to speak Spanish, but, not completely fluently. And anyways, it means quit your job. And so Despide tu jefe, he's got a logo right there that's kind of like a quit your job thing. Hex Mac, this is the gentleman that I'll most likely be doing the stream with on Saturday my time. And him and myself, we're still going to, chat on Telegram messages and get a proper time. So just so everybody knows. Yeah, Bitfinesse, he says he'll be there. So him and myself on Sunday, we're going to be doing a live stream. I'm really looking forward to it. Bitfinesse is a great guy. And the cool thing about Hex, the community, it's not just about Hex. It's not just about cryptocurrency. It's kind of about everything. And one of the main goals that Richard has after Hex is like Sci-Vive and, just continuing things like that. So it's really cool that we all have a lot in common, not just Hex. So King Matt J says, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. They're on Twitch. Children of the Grave, the tall giant, he says, exactly. It's, on my mom's side and my dad's side, we both can talk a lot. And we always say, like, on my mom's side at least, we'll say, like, our goodbyes, and then like 15 or 30 minutes later, or even an hour later, we'll then leave after that. So you kind of got to know when to cut it, because, I can talk a lot. So that's definitely one of my strong suits on live streams. It's nice to be able to just interact with the chat and see how everyone's doing. So we got Maddie, Allin or Alan, a first Hex conference. So yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Maddie did host the world's first Hex conference, and that was January 6th through the 9th. That was an amazing conference. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I really appreciate the invite and extending that out. So speaking of invites, we're going to copy the StreamYard. I know at least one person said that they might be interested in joining, and I'm just going to send that to the Telegram to them now. And, we'll see if they come on and if everything works. If not, no worries. So Hex Mac, great. So this is the person that I'll be live streaming with. So hell yeah, I will be there, Bran. Hey, great to see you, Hex Mac. I really look forward to streaming with you. And same thing, with Identity Block, I appreciate you coming on stream. I know Benny Blanco has been on stream recently as well. And same with like Crypto King, I think. He had what's his name? High Impact Flicks. I think his name is Brian. But Brian with High Impact Flicks, they went on like the Knights Roundtable, which was like Motley Investor had a big chat going, and someone with over 500,000. Let me undo this. Someone with over 500,000 subscribers. It's like 560,000. His name is High Impact Flicks, and his name is Brian. They went on Motley's stream last night, and they were talking about Hex. They were talking about crypto. So let me actually just show you real quick who the person is that I'm referring to, or maybe I can also just comment the link real quick here. So Motley Investor. So it was on Motley Investor's channel last night, and we're just going to copy that real quick here. So guys and gals, for anyone watching, this is really important, and it's really cool because not only in Hex do we have celebrity shoutouts in the past, and do we have completed code and audited code, but we've got new people on board just constantly coming in, and it's so cool, and I'm so proud to be a part of such a thing. So it's really awesome to see the community. Everyone is getting together, and even the people like Benny or even David, like streaming his tattoo. We're all kind of like pushing our comfortabilities to the next level, and we're all kind of like sharing the experiences together. So it's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna paste in the chat for anyone the link that I'm referring to. It was last night that Motley Investor and High Impact Flicks had the actual chat, and pretty much we got a new Hexican on board. So Crypto King, he mentioned that he donated, or someone donated, at least 5,555 Hex to them, and I didn't hear an update whether they're going to stake it or keep it liquid, but it's just really cool to hear new Hexicans coming on board, you know, I see this comment a lot from even like the same person asking a lot that was saying like, what can we do as Hexicans to make the adoption more, or to make the hex price go up, pretty much is what they were asking. And the long story short is, you know, get the word out, is word of mouth. And so that's one thing Richard has mentioned multiple times, is whether you're talking to your friend about it, or you know, coworkers and whatnot. My tactic is kind of subtle. Like, usually people approach me and say, you know, why the hell are you so happy, and what's this hexagon bullshit? You know, so it's really cool to be able to explain to them that it is similar. Like, the way that I treat it is similar to a retirement account, where I've got that long-term perspective and long-term horizon. But for anyone that doesn't know, you can stake hex from 1 day all the way out to 5,555 days. So that's like 15.2 years. And while we're doing a freestyle on the stream, we can say hello to, hey, this gentleman right here. Him and myself, we actually chit-chatted a couple times on here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. My headphone cut out for just a second. But me and Mr. Loco Moat, we chit-chatted a couple times on Telegram, and we're going to be doing a live stream hopefully sometime in the future. But that person, we chit-chatted, and they're definitely an OG Hexican as well. And it's really cool to hear people, even from other communities, hearing about Hex, they're learning about Hex, and they're interested. They're interested in holding their own private keys. You know, in some of these other cryptocurrencies, they're giving their cryptocurrency similar to an exchange. They're giving it to a middleman, and what they're doing is they're being promised, or they're being told that the contract itself is going to give them a yield in return, and in reality, they're pretty much gambling by putting their trust in a third party or centralized party. So the cool thing about Hex is not only are we earning like 30, 35%, even 40 sometimes, all the way up to like 60 if you're at a 10-year stake, but 60% APY. But not only are you getting that, but you're actually holding the private keys itself. So you're holding the bank vault. You are the Federal Reserve version of crypto. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so Spirit Hex. So I've got some Hex stuff, and this pendant specifically was at shapeways.com. I just typed in like Hex jewelry, I think. But I also got a pendant similar to the one that Richard actually has, where it's a little bit bigger. I've got one of those that are coming in the mail maybe within like a week, something like that. And it's just like a stainless steel brushed gold type deal. Nothing too fancy, but it'll at least be bigger, so I can kind of represent the Hex logo a little bit bigger. But for anyone that's like curious, I know a lot of people have shown their Hex apparel and whatnot, and there's usually like the question of like, oh, you know, what's the specific website, like the Hex.com website, where I can just get t-shirts? And there is no specific Hex.com website where you can just get t-shirts at a merchandise store. Richard's mentioned that a lot of the people, you know, maybe even myself included, with his permission, the time that he allowed it, even on Livestream, have printed our own shirts via just like third-party like clothing and marketing companies, and you kind of just upload the hex.com/downloads vector file or the normal file, and you can print your shirts from there. So Richard mentioned at least that a lot of people have done that. So there's no specific website necessarily that I know of. I know Hexologist has mentioned there might be, like, I think it's Redbubble, I think was the first actual Hex shirt that I bought, and Hex.toys, they actually rebranded to the Redbubble site as well. So to answer your question, Spirit Hex one, it's through a different entity and different party that a lot of us, including myself, have gotten our shirts from. So another person I want to shout out, and they've actually been in the stream a handful of times actually, like maybe 5 or 6 different times now. And they were actually in a stream recently, is Hex Monkey. So just want to say cheers. Him and I were talking once again in Telegram as well. If anyone ever wants to chat to me, it's t.me/BallietBran. And that's my my Telegram link that you can reach me on. But him and myself were kind of just chit-chatting, and we're both Hexicans, and a lot of us are Hexicans too. But sometimes you kind of recognize usernames, especially once they've been on. And so he says, I got my Hex T-shirt from Redbubble site. So yeah, if you go to I think just redbubble.com, and if in the search you just type in like Hex, or maybe even like Hex.toys. I know Hexologist mentioned in the live stream today that the Hex.toys Psy, I believe, short for psychology, he's rebranded to the Redbubble. So for anyone that wants to get merchandise, Hex logos, things like that, that's at least one website or one way that you can do it. And just want to say cheers to everyone. I don't want to neglect DLive, because we are streaming on DLive. I'm not going to be unstreaming or removing myself from any of these streams anytime soon until I see that it's not worthy of going on. So the person that just followed me on DLive, we're just gonna skip that username for right now. But Northernmost Hexer, they donated 1 diamond, and then another diamond, and then another diamond. So 3 diamonds in total. Thank you very much. And that person has been in the chat room for a long time. So thank you. And also, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone that's watching, if anyone has any questions that are Hex related, I'm one of the OGs that's been around since the beginning and since day one. I can at least give my opinions or thoughts, or try and answer any questions for people that may or may not have any questions. So if you have any questions and you're new, or even if you're not new and you have any questions about shares or Hex and staking and whatnot and how it works, I can definitely answer those for you. So yeah, and Bayo Nilly says woo as well, and then Dragon363, they're talking about Puerto Rico, and Marco as well. Marco's another another gentleman that's to my knowledge a Hexican that I've seen for a long time, but they're recently like consistently participating in the community and the chats on all of the chats, not only DLive but YouTube, Twitch, and all of that. So just want to say shout out to all of the Hexicans, because we're all what makes Hex Hex. And they talk about on Discourse Syndicate a lot that it's not the community that you want, but the community that you deserve, right? And the way that Richard's designed Hex, it's fostered such a community, and it's even attracted such a community that's just such a fun bunch of people, boys and girls, like gentlemen and women, that are really like-minded and really have a lot of unique experiences. So it's really cool to see. Okay, so this is from a Hexican kind of answering my question about if you have any questions. So if the shares are designed to dwindle off over time, is Hex designed to eventually die off if the shares are all gone and get burned through unstakes? Well, I mean, it just comes down to that shares are going to be valuable as fuck. They're going to be valuable as hell. When you have a T-share, let's see what it is right now. Let's see here. 1 second here. So yeah, 16,714 Hex is required for actually 715 is required for a 1-day Hex of a 1 T-share, and that number only goes up. And so what they're kind of asking is, for anyone that's not familiar, any time that you have liquid Hex, you just have Hex that you can sell on the market, or Hex that you can just hold until whatever you want to do with it, right? But when you actually stake it, you're trading in, you're interacting with the smart contract, So you're not interacting with any centralized entities or third parties or anything like that. You're just interacting with the smart contract. And what you're doing is you're trading in. You're doing this all for yourself. It's not like there's any other entities. It's just you and MetaMask or you and smart contract. But you're exchanging HEX for shares. And that's based on the T-share value for that day. So let me actually, since I have a wallet that I feel comfortable at least streaming with, that I'm not doxing myself too much with, we can go to hex.com/stake. So go.hex.com/stake, and this is the share screen. So now you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this right here, share price. This is what it costs for 1 trillion shares, which is just 1 Terra share or 1 T share. Okay, I had to get some water. So right now you can see the share price is 16,714 hex per trillion shares or per Terra share or per T share. And this number itself, that's 16,714, that statistically and via the audits can never go down as far as what the code actually says. That number per T-share can never go down, according to the code. Okay, so we're back, and I am having some cutting out with my microphone, so I apologize for anyone if I have to every 20 minutes or so turn off and turn back on my headset that re-enables the mic. So sorry about that, but at least you can see on the screen. We're just going to scroll down a smidge, and the Hex.com website, the go.hex.com website, it shows you what the actual US dollar value is worth. So this is at the current time of right now. So this wallet, the principal itself, in total, I've got about 95,330 hex that I've got staked. That's just the principal. The actual interest itself is 3,374 hex. And that's all via the smart contract itself. And whether my stakes end today or whether they end in 15 years, this actual interest that I've earned, that's all guaranteed interest that I've earned for this address. You know, as long as I hold the private keys and the seed phrase to this address itself in 15 years or whenever these stakes end, then I will be able to redeem that. So the earliest one ends in June 21st, 2022. But we can see the actual interest itself is 3,374. And that's based on the actual T-shares right here, the trillion shares that I was mentioning that you have. So we're just going to unshare the screen for now. We're going to go back to the comments and let's just see what we got in the comments. So, and thank you for the 33 people that are watching. Appreciate everyone on DLive as well. We're actually just going to mention DLive first. So Marco, he donated an ice cream, and then, like I mentioned, Northernmost Hexer, they donated some stuff as well, without saying anything. So I appreciate the support. So David says, no, that is not current price. The US dollar price is just on the rollover. It's not live. Okay, well, maybe on graph.x.rocks, that gives you the US dollar price. Let's share another screen right quick. Let's go to share screen. We're going to go to graph.x.rocks. We're going to do that real quick right here. Okay, so everybody can see my screen. This is another website that's kind of replacing a previous one that had some sort of malfunctions. So this tells you what the current price is for a Terra share, for T-shares. So it's 1 T-share, 1 trillion shares, and Hex is currently $144.10 in US dollars. So that's just if you were to stake it for one day. And then the way that Hex works is it pays you 20% more interest every single year. Sorry, not 20% more interest. You get 20% more T-shares, which is the thing that gets you the interest. you get 20% more T-shares for every extra year that you lock. And that goes all the way up to 10 years, which I think is 3,641 days is the maximum amount that bonus will lead up to. And you get about 3 times, so 300% of the T-shares when you stake up to 10 years. So what's really cool about it is Hex gives you that level playing field. So if you've got, like, say, a drag race going on, you know, we just had RG3 mentioning that he was doing some drag races, you know, way back in the day. But and the question has come up in Richard's chat before, but when you're comparing something, you don't want to compare the current year to Bitcoin, which is like 12 years ago. No, you want to compare it on an even playing field, right? You want to compare it, you know, 0 to 0, completely stopped. So you would compare 2020, that performance of Bitcoin versus 2020 performance of Hex. And you compare those at an even stop. And what you have is Hex absolutely slaughters and smashes Bitcoin in gains and in everything else. So I just want to say that it's really cool, and I'm really proud to be a part of a community and a product itself that's complete. You know, Richard Hart does not have any Ethereum address or Bitcoin address that you can donate to and show support to. The only thing that Richard ever mentions, if like you can help someone else, is either like you know, spread the word, I guess, about Hex, or kind of positively impact someone else's life, you know, whether it be through, you know, SciVive or Hex or anything like that. So we're just gonna, you know, kind of just recognize Richard. He developed a amazing product that's all complete. It's had audits. It's had 3 different audits. So if you go to Hex.com, I think /security, but if you just go to Hex.com, there's different headers and different chapters within the headers, and one of them leads you to, I think it is the security header, but it leads you to the actual security audits that were done. And they're done by different firms, and they're done by professionals that confirm that the Hex code itself that says longer is supposed to pay better. You know, if you stake 1 year, it's supposed to be 20% more and not a different number. The audits actually confirm that code does what it says it's going to do. So it's really cool that we've got 3 of them. We've got 2 security audits and 1 financial audit. So we're just going to cover some chat real quick. Toblerus says, I do 4,444 stakes. I'm guessing that's the amount that they're doing in Hex per stake. All right, let's scroll up a smidge. Okay, so yeah, HexMonkey mentioned once again, for anyone that's not familiar, it's a website that you don't need to like design it yourself specifically. It's already designed, but you go to Redbubble, I think .com, and just type in the search bar like either Hex.toys or Hex, and you can either find, you might be able to find, at least from what I've heard, you might be able to find, you know, pure Hex apparel, or you know, possibly Hex.toys apparel from what I've heard. So that's what happened to Hex.toys, for anyone asking. Okay, so pretty much we did answer King Matt J's question, which is that anytime you have T-shares and Terra shares, those units of account within itself, the T-share, is deflationary. It's designed to be deflationary. So over time, it's going to have a maximum that number hits, and then once it hits its maximum, it's gonna, you know, go back down. And what that does is when it goes back down, it becomes more valuable theoretically when you've got supply and demand, because something that's got a super high demand, that's got a lower circulating supply, is going to be theoretically more per hex that's in supply. So yeah, Toblerus, good to see you. HexMac, once again, I'll be streaming with them on Saturday, and then same thing with Bitfinesse. I'll be streaming with Bitfinesse most likely at my normal time, which is just 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. and we're going to be doing just a Hangout stream. And I've had them on my stream one time before, but it was never just like a one-on-one. So it'll be really cool to have Bitfinex for that stream. Okay, so Eshchatar says, shares don't ever run out. Let's see. New ones get created when someone stakes more hex. Yeah, exactly. You've got like a maximum that's like a share pool. And once that pool itself is like depleted, then you kind of go, once you hit a theoretical maximum, then, you know, it just depends on who realizes those, who's still holding on to those, for how long. But yeah, at the end of your stake, you're taking your hex shares and you're exchanging them back for hex again. So you're burning your shares, which is part of the deflationary aspect, and you're exchanging it for a hex in return, which has the interest most likely. Yeah, exactly. So T share and then B share. And actually Richard commented on this before too, which I really appreciate. I really appreciate his input, which was, and by the way, on DLive we got hater_great. Hi, good to see you as well. But so Richard mentioned that most likely what we might see in Hex is the actual cost per T-share is going to be more expensive before we see like maybe reducing Okay, sorry about that. I had to do the restart before reducing to an actual billion shares. So the actual Terra share itself, who knows, might go $1 million a T-share or $100,000 a T-share before maybe that actual increment changes. Nobody has the answer to that, but that's most likely what's going to happen. And that's one thing that Richard's mentioned is most likely instead of that number getting reduced to like X amount of, you know, million shares or billion shares, is that it still might be in that T-share currency, I guess, or base, but it's just going to be 100,000 or a million, whatever it ends up being per T-share at that moment. So it's great. And Maddie Allen as well. Maddie, you know, I know you're watching this right now. Thank you for the Hex conference. Not only did we have Crypto Kool-Aid, did we have Joe Hexotic, who also has his own channel, but we had, you know, Matty Allen and many other Hexicans kind of working tirelessly to perform and to present the HEX Changes conference. So I just want to say, you know, great job on that, and that shattered my expectations. So I really appreciate, you know, all that you do, and your streams and whatnot too are very fun to participate in. So for anyone that might notice, I did actually just throw out the StreamYard link, which I kind of do vet. You know, there's a couple of blocked users, but most people can join if they want. If anyone has any opinions or like just a platform they want to maybe talk Hex on, you know, that opportunity is for anyone, but it's obviously not a super pressure thing. You know, I can stream by myself just fine. But if you want to join, you can too. So Hex Max says we got Alan Bittner in the house, and Alan's like the king of the memes now. And actually, I don't have it here, but actually at my work at Mutual Materials, where I work in Bellevue, I've got a printed out photo of the meme that Alan did for me, and it's his name is, for just to give credit to the master that did it, is _Hex. So Alan Bittner. That's his name, is Alan Bittner, to my knowledge, and he's mentioned that publicly, so I'm not doxing. But Alan Bittner, or _Hex, and he's the one that's done like a lot of memes, and we can maybe even go over his. Shit, dude, we might just be able to do that now. We might be able to just go to his channel. Let's do it. Let's give the man some shout out. Let's go to. Okay, so we're sharing the screen right now. So this is _Hex, and you know, thanks for following me. But they're the king of memes. So first off, on Brave, you can download Chrome browser extensions. So right now I've got Hover Zoom, Ad Blocker Plus, things like that. But this is just Hover Zoom that'll kind of expand a photo when you just hover over a URL. So this is kind of funny, saying like, it's okay to admit you were wrong about Hex. Really? Yes. You know, be wrong about all of it? Yes, all of it. And then the world itself fills up full of tears. So that one's funny. And then, okay, we're going to skip this one. So yeah, Alan, once again, 8bit_hex, they're in the chat as well. And they're like the king of memes, right? So they got some, some great stuff. Okay, so we're just kind of reading some of the memes. They're pretty funny. Oh yeah, this one's actually really cool, and I actually retweeted this myself. It doesn't show it under here because I retweeted it via quote, and I did it on a couple different Twitter channels that I own right there. But yeah, under 8bit_hex, it says January 17th. Have you ever wondered how Hex was made? And it's in like a science lab, which is kind of like, you know, speculating, and just like fan fiction is like, you know, kind of Richard and whoever else may or may not have been involved, but like, you know, making up the game theory and whatnot. And so each panel is its own thing. So one panel, the first one is best logo. Second one is some trustless interest. Richard's mentioned when it comes to Hex, he's copied what they've done in the traditional market, which is literally the same thing. Traditional CDs, some of them, like the mega CDs, or some of them at least, have a 20% extra every single year. And so Richard copied what was working instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. So I really think, you know, kudos to that. And that was really cool to, you know, throw your own spin on it, but also copy what was working. Okay, so awesome share rate structure is the other one. That's exactly right. The actual share rate that we looked at, the 16,700, that number can never go down, at least according to the code. So we saw after Big Payday, that number go from like 10,000 hex per T-share to like 16,000 hex per T-share. And that, like I said, that number itself never goes down. And it might seem just like gradual, like one day it's 16,600, you know, 63 or something. Next day it's 16,700. And that number seems gradual, but over time, Hex, just like the actual share rate does, the price chart, at least from what we've seen, has just been going up and to the right. So it's really cool to see the game theory and the design actually play out to how it was intended. And it's actually, for anyone that doesn't know, it's intended not only to surpass what Bitcoin's done in games, but it's designed to be the future global reserve currency. And that might seem like a stretch for some people, or, you know, a lot of us Hexicans can kind of think in the future, and I've been able to do that my whole life. But you know, tell you what, when governments are holding things that are more valuable than the fiat currencies that they hold, or the precious metals that they hold, then you really got a game there when you're competing with other you know, countries and whatnot and entities. So it's really cool to see not only like the little guy getting in and like the average Joe getting in, but in the future, not only have we already seen institutional money, but you know, maybe as big as government entities in the future. So that was part of the awesome share rate structure. We got no admin key / backdoor, and that's the exact thing with Hex. Let me undo this comment real quick here. So that's the exact thing with Hex. Hex has no counterparty. It has no centralized keys that are actually holding on to the private keys. What it's doing is it's just a smart contract that's saying that, oh, you know, you did the stake for this computation, you're owed this amount, and yada, yada, yada. But there's no actual third party that's actually holding it. So that's really cool. So we're going to look at the last thing. So same thing, no admin key / backdoor / no middleman, same thing. And then it has the Hex logo. So it's really cool to kind of see some of Alan's memes. This one's kind of funny too. And for anyone that was like maybe asking, because I've mentioned it before, I do actually want to do this challenge, this Paki, chip, whatever, spicy chip challenge. I do plan on doing that. For someone like myself, like 99% of the time, I'm buying stuff like on Amazon or at the local grocer near me, and I couldn't find any Paki, one chip challenges near me. So that's still pending, but I do plan on doing that. So I can't wait to, don't do it. I'm gonna do it. It's all good. It's all good. We're gonna do it on live, so that'll be the entertaining part. Motley, good to see you, my friend. Motley says, that's what I thought when I saw this. Oh yeah, sugar, spice, and everything nice, exactly. So Powder Puff Girls. So anyways, we're gonna cover maybe just like what hexes. We're gonna stop sharing screen there. Let's just see what the hex price is doing. What the hex is going on with the hex price. So, whoops, I guess that's just the wallet that I felt comfortable sharing. I didn't mean to do that. I actually meant to go to uniswap.hex.vision. So let me stop sharing screen real quick and let me go to right here. Okay, so uniswap.hex.vision, that'll give you the on-chain current data with what's going on with Hex, at least as far as Uniswap version 2 liquidity goes. So right now we're okay, so we're at a 86.3% of a penny, and we've kind of fluctuated. This is just a daily chart within itself. You can kind of see like the price itself has kind of had some like volatility or just price discovery with like where the market feels comfortable in buying and support, and it seems to be around like the 0.75, like about 75% of a penny mark is where the actual price itself seems to be being bought up. So we can go from the daily to just like a 4 hour, and we can already see that we're kind of consolidating higher lows. This seems to be, like I said, around 0.75, so about 75% of a penny is where the actual price seems to be consolidating around, where everyone's like, okay, I've got my bids set on here, whether it's via 1inch.exchange or Pine.finance, whatever it is. A lot of people have said that that's got value based on what they're doing. So yeah, let's see. Let's stop sharing. Brand doxing himself. I've already mentioned BallietBran, so but we've actually got someone else in the chat room. So yeah, I mean, that's the last thing I'll say before I bring a bit_hex. Alan is yeah, Hex is the first cryptocurrency that gave me that opportunity to feel comfortable to actually come out as BallietBran instead of Brian Jones or Steve Johnson, some alias. BallietBran, Brandon Balliet is my real name, and that is doxing myself. But just like Richard did, I'd rather dox myself than someone else like try and like hold that as a thing over me. So it's really cool that ever since I have come out as a Hexican and doing live streams, that those fears that I did have about, might have some mad trolls or maybe even some doxing, none of that ever came to fruition. So without further ado, we're just going to bring a guest that we've got on board. Once again, the invite link, I will check it out there just in case anyone wants to be brave enough to join my guest here as well. But we got a bit_hex, and we're going to add him to the stream now.
Hey man, how's it going, BallietBran? Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you, man. Thank you for all the work you do.
Yeah, always. Thank you for the shout out. I totally love that everybody in the Hex community knows my full name, Alan Bittner. I just had it like in the beginning when I used Twitter. I wasn't, I didn't know how to use Twitter, and I wasn't known to the game and stuff. Later on, I changed this to @hex because I thought it would be better for the people to recognize it. And so I can also have this little hex at the end. But I totally love that everybody is calling me Alan. And I'm actually about to start a new channel
Oh, nice.
YouTube channel, and this new YouTube channel will just be Alan Bittner. So I will Abbott Hex and also Alan Bittner. But I'm not saying yet what I want to do with that. That will be a surprise in the future.
That's cool, man. I appreciate that. You know, it kind of like I was saying before I brought you on is that I was in crypto way before Hex, and like January 2017 is kind of when I at least did my first transaction, and then around March was kind of when I got into it. But you know, back then, none of those cryptocurrencies and even the communities, as much as I may or may not have liked them, none of them compelled me to. I was all under Brian Jones at that time. I was all under an alias, and none of them compelled me to like take photos of myself or like actually do videos and like do streams. But with Hex, you know, not only the authenticity of Richard, but just everything else, the community that it fostered kind of like, you know, made me realize like, okay, on Discord Syndicate, the RG3 like effing Hangout on Friday nights, which is what he does where anyone can come in. That kind of gave me like the stepping stone to like, you know, put my foot in the water. And it's just really cool to see the way that it worked out, because now we've got, you know, people all around the world like yourself and everyone else that's just, you know, not in America. And we got everyone around the world. It's so cool to see, you know, someone like yourself in Crypto Sparbuch, you know, do a Hex Lion, do the Germany chat stream. So that's really cool.
Exactly. You know what? I think it's some kind of a responsibility from everybody to have his full name in the internet. Because if you are just an alias, you are really quick to just write something really messy about somebody, maybe spread lies or whatever. But if you use your own name, you want to keep this credibility, and you don't want to lie and stuff. You want to tell the truth. So for me, using Alan Bittner is just to save myself from losing credibility, because I want to always tell the truth, even on the internet. You know, I don't want to tell mean things, even though it's on the internet, and even though I could do it anonymously. But I think it would be just a wrong thing to do. What good is it if I just go on the internet and write mean comments about whatever it is? Even though if it's a stupid comment maybe somebody wrote, I will always write something positive about it.
You know, that's so cool. And like, you know, kind of like I was, you know, alluding to as well, is that, yeah, even, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I was trying to add moderators to the channel. I accidentally hit someone, but yeah, even some of the other cryptocurrencies that I felt passionate about, those never necessarily compelled me to come out and use my Twitter channel that I've had since like 2009 and things like that. But with Hex, it was different. And as I was mentioning earlier, Richard Hart, he was very similar to myself and even a lot of Hexicans where you're kind of like lurking, you know, you're lurking, maybe whether it be anonymously or, you know, different username or whatever it is. But then with Hex, none of the other cryptocurrencies compelled me, but Hex compelled me to be like, man, this community is just so energetic and so inspiring that I want to be a part of it too. And so it's really cool to see even someone like yourself that's been in the community for a while, you know, as you know, you're kind of participating, and as you and Hex_Lion are doing streams, it's cool to see like someone like yourself or even myself, like the skill grow better. And I tell you what, Hexologist mentioned it, and I'll mention it as well. You know, your skill with the memes and whatnot have gotten a lot better. So it's really cool to see, you know, you kind of just branching out everywhere. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I would never thought, like 1 year ago, even before Hex, I couldn't use Photoshop, I couldn't use Premiere CC, I couldn't use any video editing material. But I learned this through Hex because I wanted to be a part in this community. I was looking for something that I can do, and I found memes, and I learned every day. I do memes every day. I don't know if you have seen that. At least I try every day. I think I've missed like 1 day in the last half a year.
Yeah,
and this consistency Hexologist talks about every day just brings you forward really a lot. you learn so much, and I learned a lot. And because of this, I have this place in the community where everybody knows me somehow as a meme lord, even though as I don't see myself as this. I think I'm just a random dude that does memes on the internet. That's pretty much it.
Well, the cool thing about that is, even for the people that have consistently watched like Hexologist, like your first stream is never the best, right? And you always are trying to update your worldview or your reality on how you can make things a little bit better, production wise or audio wise, and it's never perfect the first time you do a stream. But for someone like yourself, I think it's always, and not even for someone like yourself, but just in general, whether it be a Hexologist or even Hexologist that recommended that I get on a schedule, is some sort of consistency. Whether that's once a month, once a week, every other week, bi-weekly, or even every single day, like Hexologist does. When you establish that sort of credibility, and when you establish schedule, it's similar to Hex. You have like a level playing field, and whether it's social media, and whether that playing field is like your word, whether you're actually going to do it or not. In Hex, it's kind of like, if you end stake and you said you're going to stake, you're going to be penalized. So it's really cool to see everyone has their own value in the community that they provide, and someone like yourself, you are not only in the world are extremely valuable, but in this community are extremely valuable as well, because similar to my girlfriend that just speaks two languages, English and Spanish, yourself speaks, at least from what I've seen even today, English and German, and it's really cool to see the Hex community going. We've already been worldwide, but we're really just announcing that to the world and broadcasting to the world what the Hexican fam really is.
Exactly. And what you're saying is it never stops, you be consistent, you learn new things, and your stream will never be good enough, because tomorrow you will update something and will better every day. And like, imagine in 5 years from now where you can be. I just see you have a new setup, and I really like your new setup here. It looks way better than the other one, even though the other one was totally fine. It was great. You also had Hex logos, but this now really looks like a professional streamer, and not gonna lie, it's awesome.
Thanks, man. It's actually just the comparison of this is my house here in Bellevue, Washington, and then my girlfriend lives in downtown Seattle. So you have the different setup where it's just a different setup with the couch that I'm sitting on is my girlfriend's place. But I agree, man. Like I wanted to get some like today I got this right here, which is like a LED strip, like it's light emitting diode, like a 30-foot long a strip that does RGB colors as well. But I wanted to not only have a like studio and set up at the girlfriend's, but my place as well. So it's I appreciate you saying that, man. It's always kind of cool to add your kind of especially at your own place, your own kind of spin or taste on the decoration. So I just got a shit ton of Hex stuff.
Nice. Yeah, man. You know what happened to me yesterday? Because like today it's already in the morning, but yesterday I was writing to somebody in Germany. He is like the Andreas Antonopoulos in German crypto. So like the best guy in the YouTube cryptoverse, and he said something about Hex, and it was something like a BitConnect and stupid stuff like this. And I wrote him. I would never thought he would write back. He commented. But he said, oh man, Hex has no value. If people don't buy it, then it would go down in price. And I think, man, he is in crypto for such a long time. And he doesn't understand that what he just said is true for everything in the world, not only in crypto, but also in every other market. If people don't buy it, it goes down in value because people sell, right? It's so crazy. And now I just got up, I wrote the comment, I'm thinking about it, man. What can I reply to that, It's so crazy. I have the feeling I every time if you have a hex hater, you have to start from the really beginning. What is value? If you have to start about talking value, man, why are you even in crypto? You really should go deeper in stuff, because he is like a guy from the IT, he should know what he's talking about, and obviously he's not.
It's so true, man. That's one thing that I've definitely learned with people in general, but especially around certain topics, is while they might ask you a really like in-depth and detailed question, whether they realize it or not, you kind of have to, as the person that's like responding to that, you kind of have to realize, what kind of playing field is this person on? Like, does this person know a whole bunch more than I know about this, or they know enough about the topic for me not to be like almost sarcastic to them, or do they really not know what the hell they're talking about, and they might have just asked like a one-off question that's maybe more in depth than they really realize. So to your point, when you're like educating someone, the best success that I've had with people is really seeing like, yeah, what do they know about their fiat currency that they're interacting with, or what do they know about just currency in general and what it's done in the past, and because a lot of their questions like what makes this a store of value, or what makes this beneficial and whatnot, a lot of that comes down to knowledge and the history as well. So without further ado, I'm actually going to bring on someone that I've never actually had on my stream before, but he's been on Discord Syndicate plenty of times and has ran kind of like the backgrounds of the HEX conference themselves, and they actually know a lot about game theory that I'm always eager to hear about as well, and because of their profession, and look forward to hanging out with them hopefully soon. But we're going to bring him on stream. Without further ado, it's Crypto Kool-Aid, so we're going to bring him on now.
What's up, gents? How you doing?
Nice. How's it going?
Good.
To see you, man.
Yeah, just going to work on some graphics, and while I tighten up the graphics on level 3, I figured I'd get on and mute out and drop some talking points if you wanted to chat about some stuff. So I'm kind of fly on the wall and always able to talk. So yeah, keep on going, guys.
Yeah, awesome.
Pixel Slayer.
That's right. That's right. Someone's got to do the job.
Yeah, no, it's great. First off, I want to, it's been a while since, I know we chatted a couple times on Telegram here and there, but just want to say, thank you for doing all the work that you did for the HEX conference and the HEX Changes 2021 conference, and you did a really good job. I know we kind of, even in like some of the chat rooms, kind of saw some like mock-ups maybe, or some kind of like rough drafts, and it was really cool to see all of the work that you put into it, and just the skill that you have in general. So it's really cool to have someone like you on board.
Thanks, man. I mean, to be honest, it's more impressive to watch all you guys come up through this aspect of, trust me, it's a lot more than just making memes. Figuring out what buttons do what is more than making a stupid image. So watching you guys in your video production, getting your green screens up, all the rest of that is just as important about learning the background of how do you use a wallet, how do you do all the rest of that. Just because you can buy early into a coin doesn't mean that you have the aptitude to learn how to use a piece of software to export something correctly, to get a proper camera and micro working. It's kind of a whole of an evolution. I mean, that's what I do for a living, but it's cool to watch you guys evolve in this nonsense of video broadcast entertainment. And like you were saying before, getting on a schedule, you know what I mean? And holding yourself accountable to the things that you want to grow and develop in. So always a pleasure, bud.
Like you said, using Photoshop CC or Premiere, Adobe Premiere, it is like learning a new language. And like BallietBran says, he is from America, his girlfriend is from Spain. Like there is like obviously a lot of knowledge here, and everybody in the community brings some knowledge into this. You just made pictures for the HEX conference. I just make memes. BallietBran is streaming, and everybody is bringing something. And I couldn't do it if it wasn't for the community, because people are pushing each other, and it's just great.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely agreed. It's a conglomerative process. It takes a village to raise a child, and in this kind of ecosystem, like for example, gaming, entertainment, film, it's very hard to do what we do alone. Very, very, very hard. A, you don't get feedback. B, you're handling all the departments, and so when you go at this alone, there's so many more variables that you have to learn by yourself. But when you have a community to help drive you and educate you, and was it Hexo and the captain be like, Mike Workywell or whatever it is. You don't have to actually know technically what it's doing, but plug it in Mike Workywell. That's better than having to figure it all out yourself.
It's so true, man. Sometimes you need to learn as you go, and same thing that I mentioned with Alan, or especially for myself, and it's nothing. I would like to improve the stream from where it's at, and maybe after we chit chat a little bit about OBS, we can kind of do that. But it's cool to see that at least we got the starting point of like getting our foot out there, or like the information that we have about Hex out there, and then the rest of the stuff will kind of like figure itself out. But at least showing that like effort and that energy, really makes a big difference to kind of what Alan was saying.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think Hex gives us the opportunity to not work in our day job as much, because we can make other financial instruments like Hex for work for ourselves, and just free up some time to learn new things, just like streaming or like video to editing or whatever, just learn new things and improve in life. It's so important.
Agreed. Now, I will give advice as someone that lived on their crypto for a while, and then it crashed, and then I didn't have an income. Make sure that your wallets are fat and happy, and supplement your fiat-based streaming knowledges rather than spend your coins. You don't want to spend your fortune when it's pennies and not dollars. But learning how to supplement your lifestyle on the aspect that will benefit your bags and benefit your experience and benefit your life expectancy, that is definitely 100% important.
Well, I think there are two ways to accomplish that. On the one way, you could always put fiat into crypto, or what I like to do is just don't spend any fiat. If I don't go out into a restaurant and eat like at home, if I don't go to the cinema, I'm just saving a lot of money I can put into crypto now.
Yes, sir. Definitely right. And that's both hedges into the same pyramid of carb your expenses, just like you would, investing in anything that you do in life. A gym, let's say a CrossFit gym, is expensive because it's so expensive that you go, right? A 24-hour fitness, I'm not sure where you are in Europe, but it's a cheapy $20 thing. And because of that, it's just a bill that you really don't care about. But a CrossFit bill, it's like,
oh, is Cooler dropping out? I can't hear him anymore.
I didn't know if that was me. It might take just a couple of seconds for. Sometimes it takes StreamYard can take a lot of processing power. We'll see if he comes back on. But I totally agree with what Kool-Aid is saying. I mean, it's really cool. Like if you've got a puzzle, we all kind of uniquely fit each part of that puzzle, right? And whether it be people like being in front of the camera more and doing content, or even being online and behind the keyboard, we're actually going to bring in another Hexican. But yeah, what I was just going to say is like everyone kind of has their own unique value, and honestly, none of it goes unnoticed in my opinion. Like all of it from what I've seen, sometimes it's almost like, holy moly, we have so many Hexicans that it's like, how do I follow them? How do I follow them all? Like let me follow them all right now. But anyways, this is a gentleman that I'm gonna have on most likely on this Saturday around my time, and we're gonna get him on stream. But without further ado, we're gonna bring him on stream. It's Hex Max, so we're gonna add him to the stream right now. Hey, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
I know you from Twitter. I saw you on Twitter. You had made a statement, something like, you are the baby face of Hex or crypto or whatever. That was a good one.
Sammy was hitting on me on Twitter, so I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm a baby, man. You can't do that." How are you, boys?
Hell yeah, dude. Good to see you, man. Doing great, man. I appreciate you coming on the stream, and it's just like with Identity Block. I had Identity Block on yesterday. My time, and it was cool to. It's always cool to see like the people behind the username. So I always saw you in the chat, similar to Identity Block, and it's always kind of cool to chit chat with other Hexicans. So Crypto Vince is saying hey Hex Mac, and same thing with Marco V Hex is saying good to see you as well, and it's good to see you, man.
So what are you doing, HexMac? I haven't seen you a lot. What do you do in the community?
So just promotion, really,
Okay.
more than anything. Yeah. I've been in since day 4.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been here a while, but just in the background really until kind of the run up until Big Payday, and then Big Payday was like, okay, yeah, I got to do this properly now. I got to get in the community. I've got to make my accounts. I've got to just start pushing the good word of Hex, basically. So yeah.
Awesome. And this just shows what we were talking about. Like we have so many streamers, so many influencers. I don't want to call them influencers yet, but Hexicans coming out and producing videos and doing stuff for the community. Everybody brings something to the table. And I think even if somebody in Hex doesn't stream or doesn't do anything, the least you could do is just go on Twitter and like the Hex stuff, I think every Hex post should get like 1,000 likes and stuff, so that if influencers, crypto influencers see that they think, hey man, I'm gonna talk about Hex because I want some of this engagement. This is what I would like to see. If I use Twitter, I just like and comment as much as I can. Just because,
I think it's a good thing as well for like, if you see anyone out there that's new, that's only been on Twitter for like a month, go follow them. Go show them some Hex love, man. Like, it's too many little like weird accounts that are, they're disconnected in a little way, but just go and follow them. Go and retweet. Go and do something to connect the community together.
It's true, man. I know I have in my intro, it has Joe Hexotic and Joker kind of talking on their stream that they did, and they were kind of talking about, like, Joe was kind of talking about like about the same thing. Like anytime I see a new Hexican, especially when you're streaming or you're coming on camera or you're posting some sort of new information or content, I try to restream any of those people that happen to make it through my feed, and Joe is kind of mentioning the significance that had, and like the power that it had, and same thing with me, honestly, as well too. I mean, the first live streams that I was doing like 7 or 8 months ago, however long ago it was, had like 2 or 3 people watching, and now we have like 30 something people watching right now currently live, and it's really cool to see that whether you have like a whole bunch of knowledge or your own perspective or experience and whatnot, to Alan's point, similar to what I mentioned earlier, we all have our own unique abilities and even just personalities. Like I see you've got the guitar in your background, and Crypto Vince, he's in the chat as well. I know he's pretty into music as well, but it's just really cool to see like all the talent pools. Like someone like Alan's really good with the memes. I've seen some of the Hexicans have nice. You got the keyboard there as well. Like I've seen so many Hexicans like Corey Investor, Freddie Quotes, even Joe Hexotic with his remixes. But we got a lot of people that have just so many talents. It's cool.
We need to drop a Hex album. get all the community
be nice, a
together.
collaboration, like
Make a song.
We made a stream yesterday with Luke. It's Mr. Vodicha. He also is an admin in the Sci-Fi channel. a great German Hexican as well. He does music as well. So I think about something like maybe an internet collaboration where you play something, this other guy is playing something, like Freddy Quotes is rapping to the sound. That would be awesome.
I want to be a Freddy Quote type, man. The next time he does a live performance, I'll be there.
Nice.
Wrapping him up.
That's cool, man. I see the guitar in your in the background. So you also play keyboard as well. It looks like. Do you want to maybe introduce yourself to the community? I know you said you know been around since day 4 and whatnot. Do you want to maybe say hello to the community for anyone that might not be familiar?
Sure. Hey, community. So I've been in crypto since 2017. I got in at kind of the run up. Bad timing. The first Bitcoin I bought was like $11,000, $13,000 just before it took right up to 20, and then that was a fun 2 or 3 years after that, just sitting there accumulating, and then early 2019, Hex popped up. I found Richard through I don't even know how I found Richard, just through crypto streams on YouTube and all that kind of thing. And 4 more weeks, 4 more weeks for all of 2019. And then, yeah, here I am. I mean, I'm 29, 30, studying at the minute, doing a business degree, working Hex full time. So, yeah, just busy, but I always have time for Hex.
Awesome.
That's cool, man. I know how you feel. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you know, it's really cool, you know, to hear your kind of side of the story. Day 4 Hexican and doing all these things right now. It's really cool. When I was talking to Identity Block yesterday, that Hex allows us the opportunity to still be productive. You know, whether it be working or studying, whatever it is. But it allows you to be productive while still earning that passive income. So it's really cool that all of that is, I guess, guaranteed or audited within the smart contract itself, depending on, you know, if you serve the term that you said you would within the contract or not. But it's really cool that all of us can kind of have that opportunity, you know, like yourself to do you know, tune in for Hex content or to, you know, do the music or the studying. So it's pretty cool, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And I know I've mentioned tonight I'm in Bellevue, Washington, Washington State area. And Alan's kind of in the Germany area, at least region area as well. And where are you from, if you don't mind saying?
I am from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. So it's about 5:30 p.m. here. I don't know what time it is for you guys, but early evening here. It's lovely.
It's 7 a.m. where I am here.
It's 10:30 p.m.
I just got up.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Do you go on Kinetics' morning show, A-Bit? Have you been on there yet?
I've watched it several times, but I haven't been on it yet.
Cool.
It's really cool to see Kinetics kind of helping RG3 with the Discourse Syndicate, and you know, RG3 has kind of mentioned that no worries Gary, but RG3 has mentioned that like this his whole setup with the Discourse Syndicate and working with Hexologists was to give the community a voice and to let everyone have like a platform that they could communicate with and with each other with. And it's really cool to see that Richard, he set the precedent. He set the precedent in cryptocurrency that wasn't set before. Like Bitcoin had a lot of precedents that it set, but Hex was just so much more different, with not only the founder showing his face, but the actual code itself being audited, being verified by 3 different audits, 2 security audits, 1 financial audit. And it's really cool to see what this community has become in a little bit over a year. or even a little bit longer for those of us that have been around longer. But it's just so cool to see like what this community has matured into and kind of came into fruition, and it's only going to expand and get bigger as that snowball rolls downhill, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I want to start this year, I don't know, at some point, just streaming a channel, doing all that. And I'm looking forward to things like the next HEX conference, or, you know, a HEX news network where it's like 24-hour, just time slot, HEX.
Exactly.
It's going to be so exciting.
It's crazy that the world is just on stop right now, and we cannot do anything but stream. And I cannot wait for a time where we can go outside and make HEX conferences and just meet up everybody. And this will be just awesome. Awesome times are ahead of us.
I was in the green room with IG3 yesterday, and we were talking about the HEX conferences. And I just said, wouldn't it be cool if like every year we picked a different country to do the HEX conference in? So this year it's like America, next year Germany, and then you guys come out to Australia, and then we go to like Japan or something like that, and we can have one kind of where all the main Hexicans are situated, and then you can like bring your people over, show them the city, show them the place, and you know, enjoy each other's company for a couple of weeks, and then go back to the regular world and regular old life.
I'm sure this will happen. 100%, because Hexicans have enough money to do so, you know, to fly to Melbourne, you know, this is possible now. It wouldn't be possible for me like a year ago.
Me either, man. HEX completely changed my life in that regard. Absolutely.
Well, there's somebody in the chat. I see a Gypsy Rebel saying that, man, it is so many fees are involved with crypto, and like his principal is even shrinking. But Gypsy Rebel, I just want to tell you, it is everywhere, even in the traditional markets where you have those fees, and you can now like learn from this mistake you made and just start accumulating more, having more fiat, buying bigger portions of crypto, staking bigger. You know, I made the same mistake as you had. I have 500 stakes, I think. So I paid a lot of gas fees, and I will pay a lot of gas fees in the future to unstake them. With all the mistakes I made, I would now accumulate more and make bigger stakes, and fewer stakes, of course, as well.
Yeah, I had a conversation on Twitter the other day with someone where they were like, you know, it's sucking the joy out of HEX and stuff like that. It's like, this has nothing to do with HEX. It's all this here. Like, point the finger and say, hey, what's going on? Where's Ethereum 2.0? Where's that next software upgrade? Until that happens, that's just part of it. And you got to either like pull your stakes together to make a big one and send it out for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years rather than monthly stakes. Monthly stakes, you're just going to get killed at the minute.
Agreed.
I think right now it's like yearly stakes is the way to go, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, a year is probably, yeah, like maybe even a quarter, but yeah, a year is the absolute minimum that I would do. You know, when Alan mentions like having 500 or whatever the actual amount is as well, mine's a little bit higher as well. I mean, it's less than that. It's like maybe 250, something like that. But you kind of learn from your experience. You know, like you back when, like depending on how early you got in, the actual staking fees were a lot less expensive and more cheap. And so I remember back in the day when gas wasn't even a factor, like you had $15 of gas or whatever, and it's like a penny per transaction, and great. Like I never realized any stakes at that time, so the gas hadn't caught up with it. But to Alan's point, and to a bit underscore Hex's point, is that I would say the same thing to for Gypsy Rebel that mentions the fees kind of eating into it. You know, I would just kind of like consider the market that you're participating in, and kind of just consider what HEX is about. It's kind of like that long term, and the way that I see it at least is a longer term investment. And you know, a bit underscore HEX mentions like maybe a year at the minimum or half a year at the minimum. Like when you're investing and you realize a year, that's not a long time at all. Like the actual 401ks, at least here in America, and the retirement accounts that we have are way longer than a year. You know, like there's a minimum age of when you can actually realize that. So it's something to kind of have perspective in, and maybe triple your T shares. You know, maybe stake up to the 3641 or even up to Cuatro Cinco, 5,555 days, and maximize that 3 times the T-share bonus. You know, it's just a consideration.
And you have to realize what you're doing here. You are you're using the blockchain and signing something on the blockchain that is transparent. It is censorship resistant. You can always, even in 10 years, go back to this day and look what you have done. I always like to go back like a year ago and look when I invested in Hex, or when I used the adoption amplifier, just to check how was the price back then for Ethereum, just so I can do several calculations. And you cannot do this in traditional markets. And I see Gifting You Hex is making a good point here. To buy a $100,000 house, you have to pay $5,000 or whatever in annual property taxes and other taxes as well. So I think using the blockchain, even though it seems to be a high price, it is really cost efficient for the thing that you are doing, like the validating.
And he also makes a good point about fees. I mean, we're investing here. This is part of it. If you went to a bank and you wanted to do a CD, or you wanted to do, you know, any of their services, they're going to charge you. Yeah. And they're going to say to you, hey, look, a CD is probably not worth doing at $50, $20. Hey, the minimum might be $500, $1,000, $5,000. So you got to kind of like, over 10 years, over 15 years, these fees are really going to be nothing in the greater context of everything.
Agreed, totally. Let me actually just had to take a quick bathroom break real quick. Thanks for everyone bearing with and kind of throwing your opinion as well. We also do have the same person that's commenting under Gifting You Hex, Gary, Funding Gem. He's also kind of talked about the conversation that we're having as well, and he's also in the green room as well. So I'm actually gonna bring Gary on, and Gary. Not only someone that I'm, proud to call a friend, but went on Joe Hexotic. Joe Hexotic has like a more like personal and kind of recovery and relationship kind of like channel, kind of getting to know people a little bit more, YouTube channel, and so anyways, it was really cool to see someone in the community that I've streamed with before, but also hear a little bit more in depth about their story. So it's before I bring him on real quick, it's really cool that a lot of us Hexicans, myself included, do have a lot of like philanthropic or charities that are doing good causes that you can see donating to that provide value to the world. So without further ado, we're gonna bring on Gary. He's in the green room now, and we're gonna good to see you, Gary. Good to have you on, man. You're on mute real quick.
Muted, Gary.
Well, Funding Gem is such a nodule. He knows a lot. That's what I want
for a few minutes, but it's 2:30 in the morning here. I was doing some other database stuff. I was running a bot like half of the day, and finally its output was done. I was like, oh, let me get to that data and see what that's doing. Anyway,
nice, dude. Nice.
I was listening to your stream in the background while I was checking on that, and I just wanted to highlight. There's a lot of people that have entered the real estate market, and if they've ever bought their own home, or they've ever helped someone else get into a home or something like that, or your cost of entry, like you already highlighted. Alex said something about it. You guys already commented what I was putting in the chat. Your cost of entry is at least 3 to 5%, some places 6% of the purchase price. It's a percentage of the house price.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, that's just basically the brokers sharing their commission basically to get you into a home, to facilitate the sale of the property preparation. So they're compensated as brokers to get the seller and the buyer to agree. And then you have your governmental fees, basically your title searches. You have expenses to get into a property. That's why typically when people say you have invested into real estate, that means your closing costs to get in, usually you shouldn't move out, you shouldn't sell it again before 3 to 5 years have passed, right? You shouldn't, because you're already, just like driving a brand new car off the lot, you are already paying retail, full retail. You set the market. Everybody that saw that house either passed on it or you outbid them, right? So you are the retail price point for that property. And out of that retail price, some money goes to brokers, and you basically have lost money, if you want to think about it that way. But they will say, 3 to 5 years, because in a, I don't even want to call it traditional, but basically in a rigged market, which is basically how real estate is also, because our taxation feeds into what real estate's value perception is. So when we have inflation of 2 or 3% of our currency, it also affects the base economy of real estate. So 2 or 3% of appreciation in your real estate, you say, hey, my real estate is doing better. It's worth 2 to 3% more than it was last year. Well, that just means that it's floating at the same speed in most normal markets, or most markets that we've had in our lifetimes, of having an inflation rate of 2 to 3% without being in hyperinflation. So I'm just commenting that when people complain about gas, if they complain, if they're really genuine about their complaint, and they say $20 to buy $100 worth of HEX, I'm only getting $80 worth of HEX, right? So they're seeing that as 1/5. Okay, 1/5, it is expensive. But did you know that if you scale it up and you bought $1,000 worth, it's the same gas. It doesn't change. It's not based on the percentage. It's not a percentage of what you bought in dollar amount. It's a transaction cost, right? It's a fee. So if you bought real estate doesn't function that way. Brokers charge a percentage of the price of the house. Government charges a percentage of the price of the house. And typically every single year, say you're in that house for 5 years, every single year, your millage rate, which is basically what government charges in property tax, is around 1 to 1.5% of the value of the house. So say your house climbs because you bought it in a good price point, and then you sell it, it appreciates, or the appraisal value would rise because your neighbors are selling their houses and setting the market higher, even though you're not selling. That means that your taxes will go up because it's based on your zip code. So my point is that when people think about a crypto asset and they say the words like I am investing, or I'm in for 2 to 5 years or 15 years in HEX, and they're considering it, treating it really as a financial instrument, it's ridiculously cheap to get into as far as a transaction cost and to be able to hold that asset, okay? If you're going to have gold, silver, or physical metals, if they're in significant quantity, then you probably want to get a safe of some sort. You probably want to maybe have someone else store it or vault it for you. You probably have a transportation cost. You have a security risk, right? So if you think about assets in that context, the ability to get into a cryptocurrency that has no borders, that you can keep a seed inside your head if you had to memorize it, to have that kind of access to quote unquote capital, whatever the value of an asset might be, right? Because it goes up and down in market cycles, but it's ridiculously cheap. It's very, very cheap because it's only based on the blockchain fee, the gas cost, whether it's a Bitcoin or whatever, but the blockchain fee to get it into your possession, right? Or to set the contract to say, burn it and then give it back to me, based on shares, give it back to me in 3 years or 10 years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it is. I think it is cost efficient and it is really fungible. You can buy crypto now and sell it in 1 minute. You can get rid of it anytime. You couldn't do that in any other financial market.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a 24/7 market that has no border, and people are going to have different perceptions based on their situation on, how comfortable are they putting some money toward an investment? How comfortable are they saying, I need to get this cash back out in 15 days, right? What are their margin of comfort? There's sense of perception, right? Of the economic situation around them. So yeah, it's liquid because there's 8 billion people, although there's only like maybe a few million maybe that are participating in the crypto space actively. So yeah, it's liquid. I like that it's liquid, and I think that the narrative is growing. Again, we're in one of these ramp up possibly to a super bubble. Again, like market cycles have blow off tops. That's why we have this psychology wave we all are familiar with. But yeah, I feel really good about the cost of entry really into the Hex product.
And we always talk about free market here, free market there, and isn't Uniswap the only actual free market in the whole world? I think Uniswap has changed the world completely.
With Uniswap, it's made things so much easier. I mean, when I started, centralized exchange was your only on and off ramp into crypto, or from coin to coin, or to do anything. And now it's just there 24/7 all the time. Do whatever you want. And it's only going to get better as they perfect Uniswap and Ethereum, and gas fees will go back down to, I mean, I remember gas fees at a cent. And that was only like a year and a half ago. We'll have these cycles where it'll boil up and it'll boil up, but then after we've had that blow off top and we go back down, fees will level out again. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have this anticipation of the proof of stake version of Ethereum and 2.0 and all these kinds of things like that. So maybe it will change the price point. And I don't know. Does gas actually impact the price of the Ethereum token because it's a percentage of the token, or is it just because when it's heavy network use, you're frustrated to wait 12 minutes, you're frustrated to wait 3 hours, you're like, I want it right now because I'm in a gaming culture. I play Call of Duty kind of games sometimes. I'm like, hey, that's 40 milliseconds or whatever. Like, damn, my latency.
It's true, man. Yeah, you definitely get to like a rate that you're consistent at, which is pretty much what everyone else is at too. Like it's the new standard, and it's cool to see you sharing that information. I mean, my parents as well. I've mentioned it a handful of times, and I'll continue to mention it as well in the future. But my parents did real estate for both of them for like 25 years each, and to your point, there was always a commission for them that were doing the work. They did the research on the properties, and they showed the clientele the properties until a decision was made. But it's really cool that you mentioned that it's almost like a cost of doing business, but in this case with Hex, especially when you compare it to other cryptocurrencies, it's decentralized and it's a smart contract that you're interacting with, and it's just so much more secure and better than anything else that exists. And when the fee is even $20 or whatever the price is, it's still worth it to do the cost of business without needing to trust a counterparty or a middleman.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about this as well. If you're gonna have, what do you want to call an asset? If you're, say, real estate, you have maintenance costs. You have to keep the property up, right? Can't let it fall apart. If you're going to flip it, if you're going to rent it out, if you're going to use it as cash flow, you have to maintain it, right? You have a maintaining cost. Other things, they, whether it's collectibles or antiques or paintings, things that have high value, and they're fairly liquid because there's other far richer people than anybody we've ever met will buy certain things, like certain niche things. I don't know many of us that are buying $20 million Duesenbergs, but there are people that are doing it. People are doing it regularly. So, so the maintenance cost, the storage cost, the security cost, right? The liability insurance premium, right? For something to be stolen or damaged. People forget those costs. What is your cost once you acquire Hex if you stake it? If you stake it for 6 months or 15 years, what is your overhead? What's your vaulting cost, right? It's basically an ETH gas cost on the entry and an ETH gas cost on the exit. And if you're going to sell that into the market on your exit, you know, 3 gas costs, whatever that is. It's still ridiculously cheap. It's very cheap.
You'd also have to check this out in your own country, but I'm pretty sure, you know, if you go to the right tax person and you say, hey, here's all my stuff, you can just write it off. They're just write-off fees. So
yeah, RG3 talks about it. I mean, it's true. You can write off the gas. The gas is part of the transaction, is part of your setting your basis, but it's percentage, you know, that you're basing in. Yeah. Correct.
So yeah, check that. Can't complain about gas fees anymore.
True. Yeah.
Hey Gary, since we have you here, I think we have covered the gas fees. Gypsy was saying, hey, I cannot see the chat. And he is on Twitter, I think. And this brings me to the point, you know a lot about social media as well. Right now, BallietBran is streaming on YouTube, DLive, Twitter, and Periscope, I think. And I do the same on my channel. I always stream with Crypto Sparbook on YouTube, DLive, and so on and so on. But should we really do that? Or shouldn't we just concentrate on one platform, for example, just YouTube, to do not separate all those viewers, you know? What is your take on that?
I stream out when I do my streams. It goes to 8 locations and it's 2 profiles. So I go to Funding Gem and I go to Gifting You Hex, and I try to engage the room because, you know, the 4 of us in this room are going to have that conversation. You're also going to be able to participate as much as you can. I think Balliet does Brand does a fantastic job of keeping engaged with people, both when he's hosting and he's on his own streams, and when he's understanding when he's a commentator as well. So I think our audience is pretty understanding of that stuff. And they're here for value, right? And maybe they are also here for engagement or recognition, validation that they're making a comment as well and contributing to the chat. But yeah, I mean, I think they get more from us because you're doing research that they're not, and you're kind of getting spoon-fed. So it's a free education in lots of ways. I would say, in my opinion, to stream on all the platforms that you can. If you have a flat fee kind of streaming platform like StreamYard is, you don't have a higher cost because you're going to 4 and 6 and 8 platforms instead of just 1. You don't have a higher cost. So I like just max it out. And then as far as Twitter, I know that Twitter is, and Periscope, that they're dropping Periscope. It's been a net loss for them as far as finance over the past few years. And they're going to Twitter, some other Twitter.live kind of platform thing. They're going to do something different than Periscope. So it used to be that they would stream the entire video chat if you put the link into Periscope, but now it limits it to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you only in the first 2 minutes do you have engagement through Twitter, Periscope, live video, and then after that, I think it falls off altogether. So it might be a transition thing as far as certain platforms, but you've seen a lot of drama happen in DLive recently with one of the Hexicans, and you see platforms like Parler and things like that get shut down on a whim, on an instant, you know, kind of notice from the oligarchs of Silicon Valley and such. So I would just say use the platform as long as you can, and then on all of them that you can, because there'll always be a competitor that surfaces. As long as we live in a country that has freedom of your feet to go to a location, or freedom of your finance to go to a location, and you have an option to go to a different platform, then another competitor will arise, and you'll just migrate. You know, that's what we always do.
You have a good point here, but I think since I've done it myself to stream on DLive and YouTube and so on, I think we are just dividing our viewers and we are not feeding the algorithm. I think it would be better to have a lot of viewers right now on YouTube and just leave them from Twitter and whatever. They just bring them on YouTube, you know? So the algorithm just sees how there are a lot of viewers here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I've made this comment before, is I don't think that you're going to capture that much higher percentage of people that are already in crypto, or even people that have just heard about it recently and they're just now getting engaged. I don't think that you're really going to grab that many from that subset demographic. I think that you will have a higher new onboarding and new familiarity with Hex if you take some of the skills that you already have. Alex has amazing graphic skills, terrific, right? And he can be making things that are nothing related to Hex, or maybe has Hex in the background without being the primary reason that they're engaging your content. Same sort of thing. There's all kinds of car channels. There's all kinds of fix your kitchen sink channels. There's all kinds of, you know, DIY and how do you make, like today I was looking at how to use LEDs to make one of these clouds on your ceiling sparkle or something. And, you know, someone just made a video about it and it had 150,000 views in like, you know, a month, right? So I think that you'll do better if you have like Balliet has, or Bran has, I'm sorry, I keep doing that, but Bran has. You guys like, and Hexologist, he did his Twitch kind of background. He changed his background, right? When he changed over to his other platform once the big payday was over. And he should make a video about the stuff that he found, why he set it up in those colors, how did that work as the Hexologist, even though he's not talking at all about Hex, zero about Hex, because curiosity has people engage, right? They will be naturally curious. You know, there's people that made all these traveling van, living in a van, like van conversion stuff that was a big thing over the past like 2 or 3 years. And this girl that had like a pet snake or something, she was rebuilding a van or something, right? She got like millions of views within like 2 months, 3 months. So if you want more views, I don't think you're going to get more from, you know, engaging into the EOS army or the Ripple army or these other people and getting them to convert. I think you'll do better talking to just general people about stuff you already have a skill, you already know, or that you've developed over the past year of the launch and recently, because Bran was never streaming before, right? He was never hosting before, and I mean he did like content for other things in the past. I've seen his older content. But like this hosting thing, and how do you get over your fear of, you know, speaking in public and live, right? Just make a little 10-minute video about that. Like, how do you address that? What do you think about? Do you write a script? Do you practice your, you know, your patter, you know? So make videos about that stuff and be wearing a Hex shirt, you know, a t-shirt. People are like, why are there all these people making all this content about stuff I'm curious about? And what is this Hex logo? What is that thing? I keep seeing it pop up all over the place, right? I engaged Ben Malla. Ben Malla is worth around $250 million. He has a huge real estate portfolio in Florida. He's a gruff New Yorker that moved to Florida, buys and sells hotels, things like that. And he's a character. He's a real person, but he's a character, very, very interesting, dramatic personality on YouTube now. Steph Graham, who's very popular with finance. Meet Kevin, who's another popular person that speaks about finance and things like that. They both have met Ben Malla, gone to his property and such like that. He lives in a massive mansion. But he has now a podcast. Was he doing podcasts last year? No, he didn't give a shit, right? But he's doing it now, you know, because, hey, he's learning something new and he's in his 60s. So what I'm saying is you can, and what I said was I reached out to him on one of these comments. I did like a little tip thing or whatever. And I said something about Hex, and I never said crypto. I said, look into Hex. I made over this amount of money. Talk to Richard Hart. And his response was, oh, Hex. That's, you know, that's that crypto thing. That's, you know, I don't understand it. Like, I wish someone had told me about Hex. That's what he said, right?
That's great.
Right? I never said crypto, but why did he know that it was crypto? I mean, it could have been a stock. I mean, HEX could be a stock call just as easy as what we know. So you'll get brand awareness, you'll get brand familiarity. You'll be like one of these people that's talking about restoring a Volkswagen Bug or whatever, right? And just do that. Do the things you're interested in, because you will build an audience that's probably bigger than your crypto audience. That's my opinion.
And that's a good inroad to Hex as well. Do other things, and leave the breadcrumbs to Hex.
Show that you're living the life that you choose to live. I mean, kind of engage. It's a little bit of a bravery thing to say, hey, I'm going to try something new, but try something new. I mean, this is the year for it. Everybody's looking to pivot. I think the fear factor of 2020 is a little bit less. Who knows? But you know, you can't do anything about it other than, you know, improve yourself, your situation, learn a new skill, put something new in your quiver. You know, I think it's worthwhile to engage people outside of crypto altogether.
And this is exactly what I want to do in the future. I said in the beginning when I came on stream, I have a plan with a new YouTube channel. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but it's exactly what Gary was saying. I will do something that I really love and just do not talk about Hex, but brand it a little bit like Hex. So people will know, okay, it is Hex stuff that made this possible.
I would love, I don't think I've seen it. Maybe I should do a search for it, but I don't think I've seen it where I've seen where people do animations and they like 10100. He's in Seattle. He's a graphic artist. He does all kinds of paintings. He's got a great channel.
Really? Okay.
TN100, I think, but he's a great channel. And he just basically sets up a camera and he uses a Mac kind of pad or whatever, and he draws out things and he does paint. He paints a denim jacket or whatever. He does all kinds of artistic things. And he's got millions of people that follow his content, right? I think that Alex is one of these people inside of our community that has that potential. Definitely Kool-Aid does. I mean,
wait, Gary, you're talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
My name is Alan.
I'm sorry. I just say Bittner.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry. Yeah, everybody calls me Jim, but whatever.
J-I-M
in
or
capital
J-Y-M?
Jim. They abbreviate it and they just say Jim, but whatever. But what I was getting at is if you did like a little storyboard type of video about here's what I think when I come up with an idea, I think about an idea. This is how I lay out maybe the comedy, because in just 4 little panels, you put a little story together. You have a punchline. You have a journey that happens in those little 4 panels, and I think it's really, really, it's very useful to other creative people or people that want to be creative like you, or they just want to be audiences of yours. You should do a video series just about that.
I've really thought about it, but I came to the conclusion that people do not want to learn things. Do you know what people would like to do even more than learn things? People just want to enjoy. They want to see somebody drinking and partying and having a great time. People just want to turn on the TV and just be a passive viewer.
You're biased because there's something called infotainment. There's something, there's people that watch the news for entertainment. It's not going to serve them any use. They find out something on the news that doesn't impact their direct community. What does it serve them? It doesn't serve them at all, right? So I'm just saying there's something called infotainment, and you're an infotainment kind of channel. Like Richard made this comment during the 24-hour stream. He was talking about education. The 8 planets. Oh no, there used to be 9, and we used to call it Pluto. What does that serve you? How does that serve you? Right? It's general education, but how does that actually move you forward economically or give utility to your life? What does it actually do for you? Right? So there's all kinds of information out there that we learn. It's curiosity, it's trivia, and yours could be another bit of that. You're like, how do you make a cartoon? I may never draw a cartoon, but I sure would like to watch the series.
I agree.
I see what you're saying here, but I think there are more people that want to enjoy watching TV than just learn new things on the internet. TV. You don't think so?
TV you're speaking to someone that I can't remember the last time I watched an actual TV show. I think I watched this Netflix thing because a girl wanted to watch it, but I never watch TV anymore. I watch this kind of thing, or I try to learn something like, oh, I want to figure that out. Like I was trying to figure out database stuff earlier, or printing NFC kind of stuff that the Popple things use. And I don't know, I get a little geeky sometimes, but sometimes they're just like, how can I make LED cloud, or how can I make, restore something? I'm that kind of personality. I'm not really, and that's a big
for sure. You maybe not, and I think Hexicans are kind of strange because Hexicans always want to learn stuff, but the general guy, the normal 9-to-5 job guy, he wants just to enjoy after work. I don't think he wants to learn. And I think there are a lot of people that are like this, and they can watch TV and it's branded like a little bit of Hex, so you don't have to talk about Hex all the time, but just like throw it in several times, and
so what do you
bring now?
Factor is, you think the compelling factor for Kinetics to become a streaming personality, Unwrecked Pirate, Dave 43G OG, do you think that that was in their nature all along, and they were going to do it anyway, or do you think that Hex compelled them and says you have to make it because you need to influence this bag that you hold? Why do you think people do it? I do it for the brotherhood and because I actually learn things from you guys. I contribute a bit, but I learn more than I get more out of it than I put in. From watching all of your guys' content, I learn all kinds of stuff that is useful to me. Like, it helps me faster. I've partnered with like 6 of you guys as far as like co-owning things. So yeah, I've found relationships that have financial impact outside of owning a Hex token. Yeah,
for sure, but we don't scale. Like every crypto viewer, like channel, does not have the numbers out yet. You know.
Yeah, I
One
agree.
second. Let me interrupt. Sorry I have to do this, but I have to mute the mic for a second. Crypto Kool-Aid, I want to hear what you have to say. I mean, not to interrupt or anything, but I know you know, yourself might have something to say about this as well.
Yeah, sure. Is my mic working? I've literally been hacking the Gibson.
You're good, bro.
Well, between like jumping scenes, and now I can like jump between But anyway, it really depends, right? Because, like, let's say, for example, I made a channel about CG, and I wanted to educate people and wear a Hex shirt. Now, the people that are interested in CG may not take the effort to learn what crypto is because that ceiling is there, whereas the people that are interested in crypto will look for that ceiling that they understand. So blending that game theory definitely has a very powerful component to what Gary was saying, but I don't think they're mutually exclusive. So for example, let's just say we're being crafty and we wanted multiple views on multiple platforms. Right now, I have StreamYard up so I can be talking in real time here, but not have the latency. So I still have the YouTube link up so I could interact with the channel comments in real time. Technically, I could put a link up that would connect all of me to all of the platforms, so I would have presence in all of them, though I would only be looking at one. But from an analytics standpoint, I would be on all platforms, increasing all viewage linkages. But again, that's just crazy game theory ideals. Now, it's a tricky combo, because I think the people that are going to be looking into crypto and content are going to be searching for that. Like, for example, what Gary does very well is entrepreneur stuff, but also arbitrage. So by looking through Gary's arbitrage information, I already have of mindset that I'm looking to make money on different platforms, which would give me more of an incentive to go through the process of onboarding from a fiat gateway to figuring out how to get an Ethereum address to understand what staking and long-term gratification is. But they're within the same wheelhouses that you kind of have to work in between. So it's a tricky dichotomy. What I think is interesting is having you land on one location or hotspot for a particular informational knowledge set, whether that's kinetics with real estate, Gary through VC, you come on to mine for CG, but you started at one epicenter of a location and then you fracture out, like Maddie Allen and Joe Exotic with mental health. It's kind of like if you learned about Richard Hart through crypto, but then you realized his real passion is sci-fi, you've gone down that rabbit hole that creates mental avenues. So it's a tricky concept to get viewership. Now, the one thing that is also risky in social media is you are a very small drop of water in a very vast area. So if it's not ridiculous, most people don't pay attention. And then they also have the attention span of very small things, which is very hard. But that's just my 2 cents while I make graphics and stuffs. And by the way, Gary, we need to get together with the whole all the things. I'm kind of almost have a little bit almost have a trying to get a downtime.
Wow. You and I, man, we're always busy. Like I said, it's 3 a.m. and I've still got database stuff I want to do. You know, I won't go to sleep for another hour or two. Yeah, we're you know, we crank through it just because we're either wired that way or we're excited about something or whatever. Just I think I was always a tinkerer. I was always someone that, like, I got in trouble as a 4-year-old for disassembling the television. So I wanted to see how it worked, you know, stuff like that.
Well, I mean, that's the
That's
beauty
cool.
of it. You'll learn so many more avenues when you get into an ecosystem of like-minded people, and that's why I think the tribalism in the Hex community just needs to watch itself a little bit, because you need to be thankful for the opportunities that brought you there, and then be cognizant of the opportunities that future avenues will, and how things bridge together. Right? If I'm a snob on one CG software or one CG studio, I don't understand how everything marriages together. And look at how, if you were a Marvel snob and you hated Disney, and then the mouse bought Disney or Marvel, so then what? Right? You immediately now have to love the mouse because he owns Marvel. So just be careful about the tribalism, because you never know what the future will bring. What you have to be is smart, open, paying attention. That's true tribalism, and true focus is, just stay open, learn, keep building.
I just want to say also, Alan, I think that like some people make the mistake of like going, oh, people want this or people want that, or if you get into that habit of kind of like painting people as like, oh, the average dude just wants to come home and watch TV. We don't know what the average dude wants. So if we
that's true.
Another paint reality with that brush and go, everyone wants that, then you've already shot yourself in the foot, because then you won't even try it. If you just put it out and you let people come naturally into the ecosystem that you're creating, 20,000 plus people in the Hex community in a year. That's huge. Imagine 5,000, 10,000, of a channel that you're making cartoons or memes or whatever it is that's your passion. You just open the door and you let people walk in, rather than going, nah, close that door or close that door or close that one.
You've been around long enough to know that Hexologist was just a guy that made some Photoshop memes. That's all he started with. I mean, during the pre-launch, that he had to get coddled into doing something public. He was just making memes. I used to say, go over and make a stream, maybe film how you do it or whatever, right? And that morphed into the TV show that he does, right? And that's thousands of people that engage. So, I mean, it's just out. And again, if you think about like the average, suiting the average, they do it in real estate. We do it because you're trying to close very quickly by appealing to the average buyer. So you have boring colored walls and you have a bland palette because you want them to project their idea on the wall. They want it to be kind of a blank palette, right? If you're too extreme, some of the colors or some of the furniture or your architecture of the way that you built this custom home is kind of, odd or eccentric, you're just appealing to a smaller market. But typically that smaller market will pay a premium. Typically it takes longer to find them, but they will pay more per purchase. It's the same thing with your content. Your content at 3 in the morning when you're asleep is still informing other people, right? In other time zones, right? And maybe in different languages, probably in different languages. So if you look at out of the total planet that speaks English, how many people that have borderless internet, and you say 80% of those people are never ever going to, one, discover your channel or ever engage your channel or ever want to learn about cartoons or whatever, and you strike out that big swath of the bell curve. Even if you just go down to the little slivers on the left and on the right of the bell curve, that's still 50, 60, 100 million people that your channel is, once they discover it, would be interested in. There's all kinds of stuff like that. There's Venn diagrams. People overlay on top. I'm interested in this and I'm interested in this, and just this thing comes over. So I'm interested in computers. I'm interested in a laughing kind of meme. 4 panels is something as a comic book fan I would digest pretty quickly. I would watch your channel. I would watch anything you put out.
Same here.
I want to answer to Hex Mac. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not in a position to say, hey, people want that or people don't want that. I'm so bad in predicting on my memes how many people will like that, because some
the process.
Some people will like these memes and then nobody likes it at all. And sometimes I just scribble something and it blows up and hundreds of people like it. It's crazy. I can never know what people will know. But you know what I do here? I just compare what do the Kardashian get for viewers and how many views gets Richard Hart. And I see the reality TV that gets a lot, and
That's because Richard Hart and
gets.
Kardashian have so much in common. I mean, their build, their curves, their big lips. I mean, just they're so similar to each other, right?
I think reality TV gets a lot of viewers, and the infotainment does not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I think in Hex though, and the Hex community, we're all learners. We're all here because we love to learn, and there's a huge chunk of people here.
Mm-hmm.
Just start here, and then let it just it'll grow. It'll naturally. You keep streaming, you put out content, you put out memes, you do that like Hexo does every day. You're consistent. It'll just grow, man. And the more that you get in your head, and you kind of like, you know, you FUD yourself basically. You know, you go, oh, they're not going to want this, and they're not going to like this. It's like, who knows?
Stub your toe. You have to go through some of these frustrations. You have to have self-doubt. Honestly, it's how you become a sharper tool. That's how you become better at making decisions in the future based on previous experiences, right? So you have to have these experiences of the curve. It's kind of unavoidable.
And you know, you've got the Hex community for support. We love your work, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I don't know how he does it, how he translates the idea, storyboards it out if he does, if he just starts sketching and then he comes up with things a person is saying next. Like, is it script and then design, or is it design and then, you know, figure out the words? But you do really, really well.
I don't know if you know that I actually do not draw all those cartoons by myself. I just research them on the internet. For every meme I do, I have like hours in upfront researching and looking for material. And then I find an artist, and this artist is a great one. So I just found, and he has a lot of cartoons, and I just reuse them and put Hex logos on it. That's pretty much all I do. But the researching just takes a lot of time.
If you make that content, someone else will sell a course for $10,000 teaching other people exactly what you already just told
Exactly.
them. Exactly. There'll be a whole series of someone that sells how to be a comic book. You know, yeah, you should do it.
Every man and his dog has some kind of course today that they'll sell you.
It's a course about how do you make money online? You make money online by making books about how to make money online.
But it's also just cool. You could put like a camera in the corner, time lapse it, and like do the whole process down into like a 4 or 5 minute video, and you just show people.
Let me put if you haven't seen it, it's let me put him in. I'll find him real fast. 10, 100.
Well, I'm planning for something new, and I hope you guys will like that. It will change my life totally. I think I will stop doing what I'm doing now and will concentrate on something else. But I think it will be great. It's a totally different direction, but it will always be something directed with Hex, of course.
I think that dovetails to what I was talking about earlier, right? So you're dealing with the ecosystem that they're searching through relative content, they're searching through linked content, but then you have your other avenues to project, or your, let's say, click funnels. Bad word, but the opinion, the funnels that allow people to click and move towards your content that you're doing. So yeah, both work very, very well.
Okay, BallietBran, I think I have to start my day now. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure meeting you guys, and I will love to come on in the future as well.
Good seeing you. I'll look forward to subscribing.
Brandy muted.
Awesome. Thank you, Crypto Kool-Aid, for saying that. But yeah, exactly. Thank you, Alan, for doing all that you do, and appreciate all the memes. And yeah, you know, get started about your day, and can you tell people where you're found at, please?
I think the best place to find my work would be Twitter, just Abbott_Hex, and then if you look at my page, like on the pinned message, I have all my links for GIFs, for example, or Telegram chat, and Hex Reddit memes, and all that links are on my Twitter page. Just go to Abbott_Hex. I really appreciate it. Thanks, you guys.
Good to
Welcome
meet you, man.
anytime. Thanks, you. Awesome. Well, yeah. I appreciate Gary and Kool-Aid coming on as well, because not only are you guys doing things that you're interested in learning yourselves, but you're participating in the Hex community. And let's see, Motley says, Bran, you're killing my sleep with this stream. Love it. And I tell you what, from my anecdotal experience, like it's the same way where, like, even with myself currently as with a girlfriend, where sometimes she notices as well, where it's like, you're always talking about this Hex stuff, and it's like, lady, if you were to realize how much money we're actually in this account, you would kind of realize rather quickly, rather than speculate on what could and what could be. But anyways, it's cool to have a community on board, someone like Gary, someone like Crypto Kool-Aid, that are both not only older but more experienced and more wise than me, to be honest, as far as the information and details and schedules go. And I appreciate Gary being able to share his stream, and same thing with Hex Mac. I mean, he's got the guitar in the background. I know he's got the keyboard too. You're playing the keyboard on that stuff. So it's cool to see that we all share a link together, and we're not alone.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, coming on stream for first time tonight. It's great. It's really a good experience.
So I just wanted to sign on when I was talking about the mortgage stuff earlier, but I'm going to go back to watching the show. If you're going to wrap up, and I'll watch it on the next episode too. But thanks for having me on for a few minutes, and I will see you guys at a different time.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Good to meet you, man.
See you, man.
And you said, Mac, this is your first time getting on stream?
Yeah.
Doing well, man. It's not so bad once you get your feet wet.
Yeah, it's like the couple of minutes before you jump on is a bit interesting, but once you're here, it's pretty chill. Yeah, I've done a couple of like podcasts and stuff before, so I've not really been like on live cam before, but I've done that kind of like live, sit down, record for a couple of hours and do that. So yeah, it's pretty chill. I think it's more people build it up in their head and then they go, oh, it's so intimidating, or it's like, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like outbound telemarketing. Once you get on the call, it's a lot easier.
Absolutely.
I can totally agree. Crypto Kool-Aid, the first job that I've been let go from was a outbound.
Same.
A messaging services where you were doing B2B, business to business, and long story short, the product itself or the strategy itself didn't work for me, but it's cool to see someone like yourself with the experience that you have and with the all the information that you have. It's so cool to see that people like yourself are willing to come on stream and willing to be on a like improper stream and share your information, because honestly, man, similar to RG3, people like yourself, Kool-Aid is more valuable than what I'm doing, and all I'm doing is just hosting the service of it. But I tell you what, man, the information that you came out with for the HEXChanges.com and the website in the HEX Changes 2021 conference was badass, man. So I appreciate all the pixel slaying that you do, and just wanted to say, thank you for all that you do, and even the people in the chat. We got Crypto King, he's in the chat room as well, and he had High Impact Flicks on yesterday, and even if you know him or don't know him, the person has over 5.6. They have 560,000 subscribers on YouTube, just on YouTube, and it's cool to have everyone from not only every community, but every walk of life, and it's really cool to see even someone like Kool-Aid that may or may not live near we might be able to do a hangout sometime. So it's
Definitely.
really cool to to see that all of the communities getting together. So
Well, let me touch on that development just a little bit. So, for example, having, let's just say you have a Hex stream, and then you have a stream that you do something else. Let's say I do CG. You could have a collaborate stream with someone else that doesn't do crypto, but is in the influence side of something that you do that has a high user base. That theoretically would give you exposure and things to talk about more on a middle ground basis, which is kind of adhering to what Gary was talking about right there. So I think not necessarily target is a correct word, but looking at opportunistic examples on where you can bridge other viewerships will promote that mass adoption ideal. And the more that we have an easier influence and ecosystem to create an easy onboarding structure than those raids of other channels where you're actually discussing something wholesome and correct within the ecosystem of what you do on the day-to-day, or a passion that you have, gives a lot more merit. So yeah, definitely those ideals, and everyone that participates in the community has those type of values.
You also brought a good point up earlier, Kool-Aid, about the tribalism, and even just then in having multiple avenues that we can walk through for the whole point of mass adoption. I mean, that's what we're here for. We all are in crypto because that's what we want. We want it to be mass adopted. And I think any time that we kind of go, screw those guys or fuck those guys, it's like, nah, even the other day, Kinetics was on with the guys from Dash. And
that's such a great ecosystem. That is such a great, and that's why I was saying, pull back the tribalism a little bit. You never know that way. And because we have to be proud of what we do for what we do. Going and being on the hate train, it just makes you look like a fool. And there's nothing foolish about being smart. So, look at the proper avenues and educate by example. Very, very good ways to handle that.
Especially with Hex as well. Like, we've been a community that's been so, hated and scam and this and that. And those Dash guys have gone through that. They went through that for 7 years. They're still going through it. And so, I've seen out there, and I don't want to say where, but, a couple of Hexicans here and there that go, oh, we don't need anyone and Hex is the best. It's like, yeah, that's true. But it would also be great if these guys could come across too, and anyone else that wants to come into Hex.
Correct.
Just open your arms, welcome them in. There's no need for negativity in the community.
Completely agree. And if we think Dash is digital cash, right? It's fast cash. Hex is staking. They have very different parts of an ecosystem. You don't have one size fits all to every influence that you're going to want in your life. It's kind of like you have different gym muscles and weights and exercises to work different parts of your body. You can't expect one maneuver to handle every influence you want in life. When I build a piece of art, I have many pieces of software I use to culminate the entire project and process. The same thing goes with life. Same thing goes with everything.
And it literally, in that instance, it wouldn't even be possible to bring the whole thing together as a final product. You need all of those, different elements to add flavor, to bake the cake, and so that the cake comes out, edible and delicious.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's just this. Yeah, I agree with Abracadabra on that one. The tribalism thing is, I mean, imagine where we'll be in 5 years, just in this space. It seems so silly. Like, all of those people that are hating on Hex now will probably end up owning a bag. We want to push all those people away. I don't think that's a good play.
No, and it never looks good to hate in general, right? No matter what you're doing across the board, hate is not a good face on anyone. and it just shows that you're not projecting the right ideals that someone would want to come on board. Do I think that we have an amazing opportunity? Yes. But again, you don't cut off your own nose to spite your face. It's a very bad ideal to do those type of things. And the more that you expand in those ecosystems on what you want to do, the more that you have more opportunities to show what your true colors are worth.
Absolutely. Even someone like Elio, Elio Trades. Someone posted in the Telegram earlier today that
Fun TV. Let's remember he was Fun TV. He was Fun TV, newscasting, suit wearing in a kitchen. Let's be real. He was not Elio Trades. He is Fun TV. So
Fun TV.
If you want to hey, you might have to change your name. But again, that's just ideals, man. I've been here since the beginning. I remember berries.
Oh, absolutely. Today, I think on one of his live streams, it got posted to the Telegram, and he was basically like, Hex isn't a scam. I've taken down all the negative comments that I've said about Hex. The Hex community it's huge. It's like a rabid dog. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So even someone like him who's come out publicly and been a pretty strong voice against Hex, now we've won him over. Even if he doesn't want to invest, even if he doesn't want to be a part of Hex, how many people does he affect? Hundreds of thousands? He's going to put that message out there now that's just it's not a scam. And that's, you can't buy that. Correct. Even as all of us Hexicans, we couldn't collectively group our money together and go, hey man, say some good things about Hex. You need to buy it through your action. You buy that respect through your action.
Completely agree with that. And your actions speak louder than trolling or words or anything like that. So always remember that the best thing that you can do is lead by example and lead by truth to power. And that's the most important thing that you can do is lead by those examples.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, Kool-Aid mentions leading by example, and it's so cool to have so many Hexicans on board that are willing to join post big payday, and every time in Hex there seems to be always a new event, quote unquote, that releases within its year cycle, and it just goes to show you that a lot of us Hexicans, myself included, I mean, I'm thinking 60, 90, 30 years out, so many years out in advance, and so many market cycles in advance. And when I talk to people like dollar cost, it really gets me going, and it's really cool to see that people that have been in the community and have been through similar market cycles, they've also been through the Hex ecosystem. And once you go through the Hex ecosystem, it's really the best community ecosystem and product that could ever exist. And it's really cool to see that it's like the final stand. A lot of times, sometimes you might have hope, oh, I hope this will work and I hope this will turn out. But with Hex, it's all done in the beginning, and you don't really have to hope. It's just the code does what it says it's going to do, and it's really cool to meet so many like-minded Hexicans.
Also, through a year of Hex, you've been through 4 cycles already. You've done the up and the down and the up and the down. You may as well be a veteran at that point. I mean, I got in 2017, and there was only 1 cycle. Hex, we've had 4 in a year. It feels like we've sped the market up, and all of that experience that I've had over 4 years. If you've been in Hex and that's the first time that you've gotten in, you're you've been through that euphoria and then the crushing depression afterwards, and then learning to navigate through that and ride that, and kind of, as you said, Bran, planning out planning at 60, planning at 90. I read some quote today on Twitter that was like, intelligent people plan decades into the future, and the average person plans to next week. And that's really like what it feels like to be in Hex. We all have these greater visions, things that we want to do, philanthropy, you know, goals that we have that are outside of Hex. But Hex makes it all possible. And it's a beautiful thing.
Totally, man. I mean, I would say alone, the community, you know, people like Gary with funding Jim and gifting you Hex, even people like yourself that are coming on my stream on Saturday for the first time. It's so cool, and I'm so proud to be part of a community that is willing and able to show the new participants. You know, you're showing the new participants what the old participants were like, and what day one, week one, or month one, or even year one were like. And it's so cool to show everybody what Hex really is. I mean, Hex, for everyone that doesn't, for everybody that doesn't know, Hex was the top performing asset of 2020. Literally, the top performing asset. So out of real estate, stocks, bonds, all of that was the top performing asset out of everything. And even the cryptocurrencies, even Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of that. So let me unmute as I, let everybody kind of say what they want to say. But, people like, let me unmute him. People like Kool-Aid and people like Hex Mac, they've been around since, the beginnings of Hex, and they've been around since the contract, startings. And it's so cool to see that so many Hexicans are using Hex the way that it should be designed. And it's so cool to see that all of us are being, we're gaining value and we're gaining interest by just doing nothing, by just staking trustlessly and through the trustless interest. So it's really cool.
And that frees up so much time for us to come play in the community, to come build the community. And we can do it as a group. It's not just, this one guy and he's in charge of everything. It's like, oh man, we're all the Federal Reserve over here. We're all making money on a daily basis. We can afford to spend that time to put that back into the community and to build the community into something that's just, crypto will have never seen anything like Hex in 2 years. I mean, there's no one anymore really that's like, aside from, the odd Andreas or whatever, like there's no real Bitcoin community anymore. There's a lot of people invested in Bitcoin, but they're like, where is the community? Where is the place I can go and watch the Bitcoin streams or go and listen to the Bitcoin songs or do anything? It doesn't exist, because the best thing at the minute is Hex, and it'll probably be the best thing for, the next 5 or 10 years as well. And that's cool. It's cool to be in a place where, you were at its inception. You were here from the beginning. You can, make lifelong friends. You can change your life, upgrade, all of that stuff. And, like someone like you, Bran, you might go, oh, hey, Gary's got this knowledge or Kool-Aid's got that knowledge. And they both have knowledge that it's so far beyond what I know. That's why I'm here. I'm here to learn from these guys. But we all have something to bring to the table. And you're like some of the glue that just holds the community together. You're on live streams, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you're everywhere. And you're like, in your intro, Joe talks about that. It's just, your value is, you can't measure it. It's so big, man. And I'm so thankful that you do what you do for Hex. It's really, you should be proud, man.
That's cool, man. I mean, I really appreciate that. you know, the reason that I keep the intro the way it is and that I haven't upgraded it yet is because people like Joe have mentioned the work that goes into content creation and to clipping other videos and participating in the community. And it's so cool to see that people like, you know, yourself from Australia, we have a huge community, not only within Australia, but within the rest of the continent. And it's so cool to see that. I mean, I'm in America, but Northern America, but we have like such a big foundation and such a big community that exists within like the first layer. Like every time that I've done like building or information that I've sold to people on like how to build the building, it's always been like first layer, second layer, third layer, things like that. And the foundation is always the most important. And it's the reason why I have so many Hexicans that have been around for such a long time as the community. And it's so cool to get along with people like yourself that have been around since day 4, and people like Crypto Kool-Aid that have such a wealth of information when it comes to game theory and everything else. It's so valuable, man. It's awesome. It's really cool.
I mean, look at his background. How many hours went into that Kool-Aid? Just that.
For the captains, it was about 35 or 40.
A week's worth of work.
No, it was really more than that. It was definitely more than that, but that's what I'm saying it was. Doing Maddie's was about 100 for Hex Change. It's Jokers. Jokers is one of the cooler ones. Let's see if I can find a whip of Jokers.
And we all do this, like, you know, we get our trustless interest from Hex every day, but we don't have access to that. It's not like that's literally the thing that's paying it at that time. We just do it because we care. We do it because we love Hex. We love, you know, our brothers and sisters in Hex. It's I felt for a long time that, like, you know, I didn't be in groups of friends or people, and it always just never really fit in, you know, to the vibe that was going on there. And then I found that through Hex. I found it feels like the place that I'm meant to be putting my energy into.
Yeah, and like again, long term, I think that's the ideal. Like I'd love it when long term I could open up like a film or game studio somewhere and use crypto or crypto lifestyle or stuff to help influence what I do for a living. And that's kind of the marriage that you want to look at between multiple different, not just revenue sources, but lifestyle sources that you're looking to apply to a particular thing.
That'd be cool.
Joker's
That'd be awesome.
Joker's my best image so far.
You know, it was really cool to see, people like yourself, Crypto Kool-Aid, that have done streams like exactly like what we have. The Joker, you know, he's on Trovo now and pretty much as his main social media source. But it's really cool to see that people in the Hexican community have reached themselves out and they've extended themselves to the Hexican community to show like what they can do. And people like Crypto Kool-Aid have done not only amazing work, but they've shown their content and their work to other communities or even the Hexican community that have done different projects. And it's really cool to see that, like, not only is this your profession, but you know, this is clearly something that you're passionate about and that you do in your spare time. And I just want to say, like, thank you for all you do. I mean, people like yourself and people like Maddie All In and even Joe Hexotic and even myself, like a lot of us have the people on the stream, and even like Gary with Funding Jim, we all have people on streams that are the core of Hex and what kind of Hex leads by example, whether it be through marketing or programming and things like this. And it's so cool that we can all kind of like share information with each other and learn from each other. And it's really awesome to have that opportunity to, you know, spread that knowledge base and the cross promotion even within the platform itself.
Yeah, definitely agree. I definitely agree. It's a collaborative effort. So what is your story, Mac? Like people say that I have not been in since the beginning. I got in super late. Granted, I did have a lot of knowledge in the 2017 up and down of hell. So it definitely helped my decision making on how I moved forward. But since this is your stream first stream and I didn't catch you the content beforehand, what was your history?
Sure. So crypto's kind of like diverged, you know, the path that I was going to take, or, you know, the standard path. Hex is just in this last year, completely transformed my life. If you would have told me 18 months ago I would be where I am now, doing what I am now, I would have said that you're absolutely crazy. I mean, I really just worked retail jobs, odd jobs, management jobs. The last long job I had, I was 2 years working for a charity in management. And I worked for the Epilepsy Foundation. So obviously they were, you know, trying to help people in the community with epilepsy and all that kind of thing. And it's part of the reason that it drew me to that job, just because you're helping people. I hated jobs where you're working for someone else, you're building up someone else's empire, you're just a cog in the machine. But if you can maneuver into something where you're like, okay, I know that on a daily basis I help people, and that can spread, and that can, you know, it makes you feel like you're doing something that's more fulfilling than just, oh, I'm selling shit, or I'm doing this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I got sick of that for a long time, and I have ambitions way beyond, you know, what I want to do with Hex. So I'm in this point where it's like, okay, this is the life that I thought I was going to have. And then crypto's really just moved that into a different place. And at the minute I'm studying a business degree. I just got done with like a Christmas job, you know, working the last 3-4 months straight. And then, yeah, I want to do Hex content. I want to start a stream. I want to do all that kind of thing. I want to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Hex focused. I kind of just want to help. Like, I've been surrounded with so many people that, you know, they're trapped in the 9 to 5. They're trapped in the daily grind of, you know, I can make this amount of money and then I can do this. And it's like, no, you can do whatever you want. If you can figure out the right path, you can figure out a way to that goal or objective. So I just want to help people. I want to help people do the same thing that I've done. I mean, in this last year or two, I've helped my dad retire. And that's been with the pandemic and everything. We both lost our jobs at that time, and it was a bit like, yeah. But then with Hex, you know, he's been able to retire this year and kind of move on and do what he needs to do. And after a lifetime of supporting me and, you know, the family, it was time to pay that back and do all that kind of thing. So I'm just about helping people. I want to change people's lives as much as I possibly can. And I think, you know, documenting your journey through Hex and crypto and whatever else comes along, it's probably the way to do it. It's probably the way to help people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that to get you deeper and deeper into it. But, you know, it's the process of it all.
Absolutely. And I've been doing this since 2017 now. So that's 4 or 5 years. I'm pretty confident with what I'm doing in crypto.
There you go.
That's awesome. I mean, I think people really need that that light in the darkness of cryptocurrency investing or investing in general goes, because when you have so many options, right? Like, say there's 10 different options. Well, where do you put your money? Do you put one in each 10th, or do you, however you diversify it? But it's really cool to see that things like Hex not only were the top performing asset of 2020, but they have the potentiality of the top performing asset of 2021, and just the dynamics of it that made it the top performing asset of 2020 can make it the same result of 2021. It's just a different dynamic. So it's really cool to see that we have a strong leadership. We've got people like Kool-Aid, Hex Mac, people like Gary, Funding Jim. We've got such a strong foundation on like the first level itself, and you're building a building. Okay, well, the rest of the buildings itself, like, we've got a solid foundation. Well, the rest of the building itself can build itself as the community grows, but we've got a solid foundation. That's really what matters, and we really have that in Hex, and it's cool to see all the Hexicans get together and really share the information that we all have.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
what are your guys' plans? Kool-Aid, you just said not after this, because I don't see it as a reason to ever leave the Hex ecosystem. What are your plans for the future? You said a game design studio?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm almost on this next nation to get the real render out. Yeah, the game industry is a very fickle mistress, and as much as I like to say it's the most fun in the world, it's not. But it would be cool to focus the production standpoint on what do we do with our values, on what we're doing with our livelihood in comparison to how you use other options and avenues in life. And so, like, for me, I definitely think building a film or game studio would be a fun, interesting thing to not only use my talents and avenues, but allow them to flourish through the community and what we all do together. So, yeah, I think using the livelihood and experience that we all have is probably the first fundamental part of how do you do more things with your investments. So, like, let's just say if you are a Genesis ETH holder or something like that, your game is not to spend your ETH. It's what do you do with your currency to make more money and more economic value with the money that you have. So I think that's the same variance to the future of people that are large or small bag holders. It's the same variance of longer pays better. It's what do you do with the ecosystem that allows you to have more economic value with what you have and put in. So whether that's making a game, making a film, putting little heads on pictures and things, those things, they're like little shock values that have a lot of tangible use to it in the long run.
Absolutely. And when, a couple of years' time, we become more free, we can drop the job, we can do more things. I have just this endless list of things that I want to do, like learn how to DJ, learn how to record and make a song, learn how to film a documentary or something like that. Like, just pull from those like creative juices wherever they're coming from that normally couldn't flow in. If you're at a 9-to-5 job and then you're studying and then you're doing this, and you're like, that stuff becomes a very hard thing to do. And the more freedom that you can build and the more economic, mass that you can grow. I mean, I said to one of my friends today, and he lives out in the bush here in Australia. He's about an hour away from here. And he owns his own place. He's well off. He's, in his 40s, but he just doesn't have the money to invest. And I said, look, man, once I've made that first $1 million, I'll just come and live with you for a while. And then I'll take you through the same journey that I went on in crypto. I'll show you how to do everything. I'll set everything up for you. I'll give you a chunk of money that then you can go and invest with, and you can go and learn how to do that. Because, a lot of these guys, and, someone like my dad even, later in life, in their 60s, you want to free them. Yeah, they've worked so hard, they've done so much, and the system kind of always just screws you over. It's nice to be able to go, hey, family, hey, friends, hey, this, hey, that. I can help you. And I don't have to have any payback. I don't need anything from you. I've got what I need already. Just let me help. Just let me do something to help.
Sure, but I think
how often you see that?
It's true, but everyone thinks that you need like an enormous amount of money to invest, whereas you only if you put in $100 a week, yes, you have to look at your gas fees and you have to look at your ecosystem and what you're doing. But once you get it into a particular token, the hard part's over. So if you just buy $100 in ETH every 2 paychecks or 1 paycheck or however you can afford, 100 isn't a crazy scoping model. But if you get them at that level, that's a first base scenario, you at least break the habit that they think that they need $10,000 to invest, because that's essentially nope.
That's just a game that people play so that they don't start investing. It's like
it is.
What are you doing? Just start. $50. I'll take 20. Like $20 a week. Can you do $20 a week? If you can, let's pull it together. Wait 5 weeks.
Sure.
And then we'll go and take your 100, and the fees are 20, whatever. You're gonna have to deal with that. But if you can just start, that's how I started. I just started by starting. I just picked a day and was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll go bite the bullet. But a lot of people never even start that journey, and that's a big step.
It is, and so like you can make yourself a savings account. And even if you're only putting $25, $50 check into that savings account, let's say you have 2 checks a month, say it's $50, that's $100 a month. Well, at that $100 mark, then you buy tokens. You can ladder that up, ladder that down into whatever you want. But as long as you move the slush money out of your fiat, that's not spendable. And that's like, I fall victim to this all the damn time. Make your money not spendable, or make your money work for you so you can spend it, and then it becomes a liquid asset and commodity that you can use for higher earning liquid assets. That, like you said, that most people like the easy click, like Acorn or Robinhood or something like that. That's a one-click solution. But you can make it a one-click solution. Shove it to a savings account. And then when that savings account hits a piggy bank ratio, just like a kid putting quarters into a piggy bank, when the piggy bank's full, or it's at that point that you unplug it, then you move it and move it forward. But as long as you keep filling the piggy bank, doesn't matter if it's a quarter or $50. You just keep filling the bank, and that teaches you good habits. It's kind of like what Maddie's trying to do with his stuff on mental health. Teaching good habits is way to make better habits long term.
I also want to hammer the point home to people out there: stacking fiat. What are you doing? What are you doing? That stuff's just going to be inflated away. There's no point hoarding cash. There's none. Have the amount that you need, whatever that amount is, whether it's a couple of thousand, and whether it's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, have your safety in that, sure. But as soon as you breach that level, try and put it into an asset class. Try and find something like Hex. Hex is a great example of that. You're always going to be behind the 8 ball if you don't do that.
Very true. I mean, if you're behind the 8 ball, then you're kind of following what everybody else is doing. And if you're one step behind, then those are kind of the people that are leading the charge. And, as far as the Hexican community goes within itself, there's a lot of leaders. I mean, not just, I'm kind of just one person that's thrown out a YouTube channel, but I think there's a lot of people that have even listened to this and not started a channel yet within itself. And it's so cool to see the social network effect that not only just Hexicans have, but the community has within itself, where we can all not only learn from each other, but we can grow from each other and take each other's positives and negatives and grow from that and have a huge impact that we may or may not want to have.
Absolutely. And Vanity says in chat right now, you know, I started with $20, and then through that, I got the uni and the 1-inch airdrops. That's like $3,000, $3 or $4,000 maybe. Like just being in the right place at the right time produces dividends that you can't see coming. You can't see that stuff coming. Like, did you guys, either of you, know that the uni airdrop was coming before it happened?
I'd heard about it, but I'd already invested in it. I didn't get on the 1-inch because I didn't have fiat.
I didn't get 1-inch yet.
Yeah, well, all my fiat was not available, and I didn't have any liquid ETH, and I didn't keep doing the small things like I was saying more and more. And you also lead by example by making the mistakes that you want to tell people on how you lost out. So if I would have taken those small, and like I just bought $200 last night because I know I get paid in 2 days. Now, granted, my bank account is really slim, but I know I'll be able to ride that out. So it's a little bit of a gamble at times, but making those little gambles can have vast rewards. Just like, I did a MetaMask swap. It turned into this weird thing. I ended up with a bunch of wrapped ether, and I'm like, what the hell happened? All right, I went through it. It's fine. But look at those small avenues of success to help you move through that.
And that's where real valuable knowledge comes from. Like, if you've got someone that you know in this space, or, if you've got someone that you know in stocks or equities or whatever it is, they have the knowledge that we've built over the last year, but probably like 5 years of that. They can point you away from the mistakes and onto the right path. That's the really valuable knowledge. It's not the, hey, do this, hey, do that. It's like, give me the little secrets, the little things that are, that made you who you are and made you successful. That can't be communicated, really. It's very valuable. Like people like Gary, people like Kool-Aid, anyone like John Wick, especially. I don't know if you guys caught that Discord Syndicate with John Wick. I mean, I sat down with my dad and watched that, and he's 62, and it just blew him away. To have someone in the industry there speaking about Hex and talking about Hex, you can't pay for it. Like, where do you go to pay for that? Where do you go to find that information? Really, it's only existed in Hex since, I've been in here anyway. You can't find that. I mean, when I first got into crypto, I was like, I probably got to learn how to read a chart and do all that stuff. Where do you go to do that? Do you just go to a random YouTuber that's selling a course for like $500, or like, do I go and find a book and get it through that?
Well, that's the whole thing. As we're talking about going to your YouTube channels, at least you get the right mindset of people that are looking for those writs of knowledge. So you are right on that.
Totally. I mean, I think we all lead by example. I mean, one thing Hex Mac kind of mentioned is that, like, some of us are positively leading by example, whether we maybe got the 1-inch. As far as that kind of specific scenario goes, maybe you got the 1-inch airdrop, or you didn't. You're at least kind of like giving people the information that they need to make those decisions themselves. And at the end of the day, there's pretty much just you and the smart contract. So it's kind of just you interacting with that thing. But it's cool to see that some of the stuff can really have a positive benefit, whether it be in the right ecosystem or getting the right people involved that are helping you along.
I remember when the uni airdrop happened, and here it was like 11:30 p.m. at night, 12 p.m. at night, and I just jumped onto Twitter, or I jumped on either the Uniswap, and I saw the little like notification there that was like, hey, you've got free uni tokens. I was like, oh, holy shit. And then I called up my dad, and it was like, 11:45 at night, and he's just like, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, you got a free like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 just sitting there. It's like, damn, That's awesome. You know, if we had have never started him out with MetaMask or Hex or anything like that, that just is a completely missed opportunity. And there's so many opportunities here. There's an infinite amount of opportunities in crypto and Hex. Like, if you've been here for a couple of years, you got the Bitcoin Cash fork. You've had probably so many airdrops that it's not even funny. And that's just free money. That's just by being here. You don't have to do anything. Just be here.
My biggest proponent that I'll always say is 90% about being successful is just to show up. People don't understand the value, and just being there, just showing up gives you so much more tactical knowledge than most people will ever get in life, because when you don't start, you're not going to understand how to finish.
Absolutely. And like showing up and being in the right place at the right time. And it's not a luck thing. We're not here by chance. It's not luck. We're here on purpose. We're here because we did the research. We found the things. We went out of our way to look down the rabbit hole and, you know, watch thousands of hours of Richard and all of that stuff. Like, we're here purposefully. And I don't think you can say that about a lot of other things. Like, you might just stumble into some, you know, random luck, but I don't think that this is that.
Right. Right.
Awesome. Well, I think we might end it here if everyone's cool with that. I think myself and Hex Mac, sometime in Pacific Standard Time, we plan on the Saturday time zone. Myself and Hex Mac should hopefully be doing another stream as well, and you know, sometime in the future as well. You know, Crypto Kool-Aid, the Pixel Slayer, the one that did all of the Hex conference, the HexChanges.com conference is, you know, hopefully we can get a live stream in the future too. So you know, I appreciate everyone being available and being able to, you know, sacrifice your time, that whether you spend it for entertainment or entertainment / you know, working, or just working in general. You know, we're all kind of in this together, and at the end of the day, it's really the success of Hex and the community and everything else that really makes it what it is. And so the even just a little bits here and there, you know, just kind of, whether it's subliminal or like, you know, you're really getting to your person into it about Hex, it can really have a huge impact. So it's so cool to have everyone on. You know, Hex Mac, I know yourself and myself should be doing something on Saturday, but it's really cool to see like everyone kind of come in together at once to provide value and make something out of this community, you know?
Absolutely. I just want to say, while you're here, Kool-Aid, that level of work and everything that you did for the Hex conference, because it was all virtual, it made it professional. You know, you could have had 20 dudes there, each with a setup like me and Bran, and we might not be there yet with our setups and green screens and all of that kind of stuff. But to have that level of just like, you know, we're going to make this as professional as it can be and as awesome as it can be. Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, and you're welcome, sir. That's the whole point. Is I'll try to provide the most professional looking application for the entertainment platform that we're looking to build our ecosystem. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Bran. I'm gonna jump off here so I can get back to building more stuff. And pleasure to meet you guys.
You too, Kool-Aid.
Awesome. Thanks, Kool-Aid. Well, yeah, you know, same thing with you know, yourself as well, Crypto Mac. You know, everything that we do in the community, whether it be just in the chat room, or whether it be like, hey, you know, come on stream sometime, or things like that, they all make a difference, and they really do. And you know, it's so cool and so inspiring to see how many people have even reached out to me specifically and wanted to show their faces, or at least be a part of the Hex community. It's so inspiring to see, like, every single day, new Hexicans coming on board and just having the ideals. So it's so cool to to do a stream with yourself and myself, hopefully this weekend, and we can, really kind of go over each other's like backstory a little bit more and just learn about each other. Because at the end of the day, when you're investing in something, especially, it's something that you want to be, not only have like a community, but make sure that the thing that you're investing the thing that you're investing in is going to be there in 5, 10, 15 years, things like that. And Hex is really the perfect opportunity for something that is a locked contract and something that has a consensus algorithm as it does. So it's just so cool to see everyone in the community, whether it be, Sammy, who's on the Hex Australian streams a lot, and even yourself that's in Australia as well, and even people like Hex Monkey, he's been on stream a lot, and it's just so cool to see like so many people that are not only global but that are willing to show their faces and to be a part of the Hexican community. So it's really something that I'm proud to be a member of, and happy to have everyone on board.
Same here, man. It's I've never felt more home in a community. I've never come out and publicly shown my face or promoted or done anything like that before. And I've been in crypto since 2017. I never really cared. It was Bitcoin and Ethereum, and everything else was nah. But now it's totally different, and I didn't see it coming. But
I'm the same way. Exactly, man. I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, probably as early as January 2017 was my first Bitcoin transaction, at least, and then sometime in March I kind of got into some altcoins at the time in 2017 too. But it's just so cool to see like people like yourself and myself that have been through the ringer, and we know like when you have a marketplace, you kind of know like what's legit, what's not legit, and what's going to be successful long term, and what's just going to be, kind of pan out short term. And it's so cool to be a part of the team win, Richard Hart win, and it's so cool to be a part of that team win, and to be a part of the 40% APY or even the 60% APY if you're maxed out on the T-shares at a 3-year bonus. But I'm happy to see people like yourself for more of an extended time on Saturday, where we can really get to know your story a little bit better and just connect, one-on-one. And it's so cool to see how many people we have, not only around the world, but just in general as Hexicans. We have a lot to share in common.
Absolutely. It's so different when you're around a group of like-minded people. And, how old are you, Bran?
24, yeah, 24, yeah.
Man, that's awesome. So, we're part of the younger, probably, crew of people in Hex, and to have, I felt like that was always missing from my life, like a mentor or someone that could be
Same.
like, hey, I'm successful. I've done it. I've proven that I've done it. And here's my wisdom. Here's my knowledge. We have hundreds of people in the Hex community like that. I mean, Gary was here. Kool-Aid was here. Richard's one of them. RG3, Hexologist. I mean, all these guys. They bring something that it was lacking from my life before. Like, if I wasn't in the Hex community, there would be a lot that was lacking that I get from being in the Hex community. Like the support, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, everyone. It's so valuable to be here right now that it can't be put into words. This is, and I don't know if you felt like this, but like coming into crypto in 2017, you felt like you'd missed the boat a little bit. You felt like, I missed Bitcoin at $1, and then, I missed Bitcoin at 500 or 1,000 or whatever. And, I'd missed Ethereum too. By that time, Ethereum was so high to invest in that, it's just like, and then, this Hex comes along and it's like, this gets to start over all again. It's like Hex is Bitcoin back in 2011, and we get to be there at the inception of that, and we get to ride the roller coaster the whole way along. We've at the I said earlier we weren't here by luck, but you feel lucky being here. There is an element of it.
Oh, I mean, guaranteed. I mean, I'm similar in I'm very similar in a certain way where it's like I've always kind of as I mean, I'm only 24, but as someone when I was 18 and 19 and 20, I was always looking for things that were like entrepreneurial and like business related and whatnot, and it's so cool that I found not only like precious metals, but I found cryptocurrency, and then I found Richard Hart, and then I found Hex, and it's a very similar distribution where I'm just so grateful to be a part of this community, and there's so many people like Gary, like Crypto Kool-Aid, and I've got 3 older brothers. I mean, I'm the youngest. I'm the baby, of 4 boys, and I'm 24, and the oldest brother's 31. I've always had people to kind of look up to and to kind of consider as role models, but it's because they're successes, and you can kind of see like the successes and the failures and kind of mimic it yourself. And it's so cool that we've got a community that's not only supporting, but it's willing to, take the shirt off your back to kind of help the next person. And like, we all kind of prop each other up to give each other like a level platform and stabilization to really launch each other to the next lily pad, So it's something I'm really looking forward to, not only streaming more with you, but just more with Hexicans in general, man. Like I realized the potential that Hexicans have in general, and it's so vast. It's untapped potential, in my opinion, and it's just, like I said, it's so vast that once you open that rabbit hole, it's something you can never really close down. Like there's so much Hexican potential that like no matter how much you try to close that thing down, it's just exploding with potential, and it's so cool to be a part of it.
And we'll wrap up here, but I just wanted to say finally that like I think in Hex we kind of all see the best in each other. Like we look for those elements in the people that are in the community that are like, yeah, man, you've done that, you've got that knowledge, and you have little people like Hexologists. I'm sure that there'll be someone that will come along and do something similar to Hexologist in the next couple of years. I don't know who, but he's going to be the guy that they go to that goes, how do I do this? How do I do that? And he helps out on all the streams, when RG3 was trying to sort out his mics and all that stuff. It's like Hexo's helping him out. And we look for those elements where it's like, where can we better ourselves? Where can we evolve? Where can we grow? And because there's so many people in the community, it's like, oh, I can take this from you, and I can take this from you, and I can learn this from you, and I can teach you that. And it's like this circle of like reciprocal learning and growing, evolving. And I've never been a part of anything like that before. I'm really glad to be here.
Me too, man. Well, yeah, I think that's probably a perfect segue. I mean, myself and Hex Mac, we should be doing a live stream sometime in like Saturday time, American time, and like I think Sunday time, Australian time sometime.
I think so. But we'll work it out.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get the stream all worked out, and in the meantime, thank you for joining me in this kind of like intermission and kind of like just hang out with all the Hexicans. So I'm glad you're able to be a part of that, and everyone else too. So yeah, we'll definitely have to catch up more on Saturday, my time, Sunday your time, and we'll definitely learn more about each other then.
Sounds good, man. Love
awesome.
You,
cool. Thanks, man. Peace out. See you later.
Bye.
Peace out, guys.